So fans, don't forget to race through the Cookout drive-thru for a cookout tray today. They're open late.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows, and real-time news updates you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters, connecting you to what matters most. Text radio to 528.
Stock car racing, etc. Let's show you a little bit. Way back in the day, the old Chevrolet Monte Carlo on the NASCAR Northwest Tour. And yes, I did have hair at one point in my life. So there I am, Bob Lesh. They don't make men like that anymore. Bob Lesh, the driver of the number 12 Ranch House restaurant, Mean Machine. There is a picture of me way back in the day with NASCAR racing. So have always enjoyed it, and we'll bring you the action here. We'll be listening along with MR.
Live on the Motor Racing Network, it's the NASCAR Cup Series.
Let's get a big thumbs up. Get ready to rock and roll past the race cars today, pal. Pull boys, let's execute. Have a good day.
Today, the Cookout 400 from Martinsville Speedway. Brought to you by Cookout. Cooked outdoor style food at max speed. By eBay. eBay, things people love. By Harbor Freight. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. By Powerball. The NASCAR Powerball Playoff is back. By Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business today at Progressive.com. By Straight Talk Wireless. Real unlimited data for fans of fast. Official partner of NASCAR. By Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com. And by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco fuels peak performance.
Drivers are getting settled into their race cars right now. We are getting ready for short track race number 1 of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. Before we get to command to fire engines, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. Back at the Martinsville Speedway, the NASCAR Cup Series getting ready for 400 laps on the half mile of mayhem. Motor Racing Network live with you at the Martinsville Speedway for the Cookout 400. Mike Bagley, Alex Hayden, Todd Gordon topside with you. Steve Post, Chris Wilner in the pits, and Dave Moody here shortly out in the corners. Alex, we go to a lot of racetracks over the course of a racing season. This one is unique for so many reasons. It is one of NASCAR's most historic tracks. Plus, this is the only track on the schedule that affords us the opportunity to have discussions about frankfurters, office supplies, and timepieces.
You're right, frankfurters. It's the hot dog track. The hot dog stand is world famous right in the infield there. The timepieces, the grandfather clock that the winner will take home. You mentioned office supplies. There's a couple of one of those. It's a paper clip shaped track. You're going to hear that term a lot. I think the other office supplies that come into play today, Mike, are a notebook, a notepad, and perhaps a pen or two, Todd Gordon, to make a list of drivers that you may need to owe one to.
Yeah, and that'll all be post-race trying to put that back together. And you look at the notebook, this is a racetrack that typically, once you figure out how to be good here, you see those guys come back and perpetually be good, because once they figure this racetrack out, they have a notebook, they know what they're looking to feel, and you see the cream rise to the top.
This race takes so many ebbs and flows. Who's running up front at lap 50 may not be there at 150. And if they're there at 150, they may not be there at 375. We're here to cover it all for you. But first, to get the party started, we go trackside right now for the command to fire engines.
Martinsville Speedway. Give a big NASCAR welcome to Rue Reeves. He is here as a cookout representative, ready to fire engines with the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away, Rue.
Drivers, start your engines!
The engines come to life, and so do the fans here at the Martinsville Speedway. We are getting ready to go racing here in Virginia.
Motorsports isn't complicated. It's made up of races where you go as fast as you can, as best as you can, and as sideways as you can. Our team, Toyota Gazoo Racing. Toyota makes some seriously fast cars, and they all have great drivers, ones that win a lot. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, they're all part of a big, happy family of speed demons. Now you're up to speed. You in? Follow the action at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
You're not going to want to miss tonight's county fair. I'm going to be...
We are your window to your community.
Did you see the last 5 minutes of that football game last night?
Oh, man, I saw the whole thing.
And a lifeline to keep you safe when danger is near.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can. This is one of the biggest storms.
We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like finishing your laundry and successfully matching all your daughter's baby socks together on the first try.
Let's see. Panda socks, fire truck socks, socks with those cute little strawberries on them.
You matched each and every one of those tiny socks. I mean, has this ever happened in the history of laundry?
And a penguin wearing a cowboy hat socks. Done.
Enjoy the moment, Dad. You've earned it. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on unlimited welcome for $45 per month with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Nashville Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Stop to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Back at Martinsville, getting set to go. The field has come to life. The engines are coming up to temperature. We're getting ready for 400 laps, 210.4 miles, Alex, with stage breaks coming at laps 80 and 180.
Yeah, and that's going to create some different strategy options for these teams. And Todd Gordon, for drivers that are buried back because of a bad qualifying effort, guys like Ryan Preece or Austin Cindric, or even a driver who's won 2 of the last 3, somebody you highlighted earlier in NASCAR Live Race Day, Ryan Blaney. What can they do to try to gain track position?
Pass cars. That's what they've got to do. Pretty straightforward. Figure out how to do that without beating your race car up. Find your way, find a way to make speed as this track takes rubber. We really haven't, the practice we saw, 2 25-minute practices, the guys that were in the second practice, they got to see a track that had some rubber on it. Nothing like what we're going to see by lap 60 here of the start of the race. So figuring out how to have balance and turn in your race car when the track starts to rubber up, that's going to put you in a position where you can pass race cars.
And, of course, our Steve Post and Chris Wilner will have their fingers on the pulse of everything going on in the pits over the course of the 400 laps that we'll be running here this afternoon. The field is easing off the pit lane at a very slow pace. Once they get stacked up onto the racetrack, pace and parade laps will commence, and that affords us the opportunity to get a different perspective of this half-mile Martinsville Speedway. Alex mentioned it a moment ago. This track is basically shaped like a paper clip. The straightaways 800 feet long, and of course the corners, they can be very volatile.
So you might have seen me talking there. See, this is part of what we're trying to do, is switching over and getting the network up and running here with Here and Now Sports. Welcome. welcome to me. I'm tuning in with the sound aspect of it. Robert Earl, usually you're listening or watching this on 33 Dreams of Indy. This is a special presentation of Here and Now Sports. We will be going live in the future with NASCAR races here on the Here and Now Sports, but we wanted to give you a taste of it on 33 Dreams of Indy. So we'll be monitoring the Motor Racing Network, providing you with the leaderboard and showing you some information, answering some questions for you, and filling in some time during the yellow flags, etc. So if you're hearing me clear out there now, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me work through some of the technical parts there. I'd love to hear from you in the chat so that we have an interactive listening watch along here.
Time now for some inside stories before the drop of the green flag from the pit lane. Starting with Halstead, Pennsylvania, Steve Post, the Motor Racing Network lead pit reporter.
Alex, a couple of interesting drivers making the starts here today at Martinsville. Burt Myers, the 49-year-old racer from Walnut Cove, North Carolina. He's an 11-time Bowman Gray Stadium champion, 97 race wins down there. And for Burt, it is a long and storied family history here at Martinsville. His father, Gary, 5 Cup Series starts here from 76 to 78. His best finish was an 11th place run in the 1976 Virginia 500, but it goes back even further than that. His grandfather, Billy Myers, had 5 starts here at Martinsville in what was the NASCAR Strictly Stock Series in the 50s. He had a pair of top 5 finishes, and Burt, he's ran here a couple times, ran in the trucks one time, and he has a Southern Modified Tour win here back in 2009. Burt starts 38th, and he is just savoring the day that he makes his NASCAR Cup Series debut. One interesting driver making his first start, and Chris Wilner, another interesting driver returning to NASCAR.
That's right, Steve. Welcome back to Casey Mears, strapping back into a Cup Series machine for the first time since Daytona 2019. He's 47 years old and the 2007 winner of the Coke 600. He's in a Carl Long Garage 66 Ford Mustang this weekend. It's a part of what he hopes is a plan to achieve a career milestone. Casey told us this week the idea for the comeback sparked when he pondered he's just 11 starts away from 500 career races in the Cup Series over a 15-year career span that has seen him in a lot of race cars. Hendrick Motorsports, Chip Ganassi, RCR, you name it, he's done it. He's also added the fact his kids don't really remember back when he was racing full-time, and he met his wife after the fact he won his first career Cup race. So now he plans really not expectations to visit Victory Lane, but today just to enjoy the moment with his family back to involve him in racing, and hopefully he can achieve that 500 career milestone sometime this year.
Had a chance to visit with Casey Mears earlier this week on NASCAR Live Wide Open. In case you missed it, you can check it out wherever you download your podcast. It's good to see Casey back at the racetrack. Of course, you know, his last start came with Germain Racing in the 2019 Daytona 500. His last full-time season was when we shut down the 2016 season. He lives out in Arizona now, and basically Alex wants to create some memories for his family, and he welcomes the opportunity to have even more starts here in the NASCAR Cup Series.
That's the idea, to Chris's point. He wants to hit that elusive 500th career NASCAR Cup Series start. He won in his biggest moment at the Coca-Cola 600, one of the majors in the sport of NASCAR racing. Able to take that car to Victory Lane, one he'll never forget. Part of the legendary Mears gang, as they were affectionately known. His dad, Roger Mears, an off-road ace, ran in the Indianapolis 500. His uncle Rick, a 4-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. The Mears gang, anytime they showed up anywhere to race, whether it was in the sand dunes or on the ovals, didn't matter. You knew you had your hands full in competition.
Right now, the field is coming down the pit lane to get their tackle.
Well, there you go. There's a indirect tie-in to IndyCar racing. The nephew of 4-time champion Rick Mears making a NASCAR start after being out of the series for quite a while.
Yeah, green flag pit stops are going to be at least a lap and a half penalty, probably closer to a lap and 3/4. And if you have to come back and do a pass-through, that's going to be over another lap when you get all done with it. So this is one of those places you've got to perform on pit road. It's tough. It's short. It's slow. You know, just stabbing the gas a little bit can put you in a bad position from the timing lines here. And it's tough on these pit crews. Coming around the corner, you really can't see the car. It's blind to you until you get 2 or 3 pit stalls away.
To add to that, in the corners of the pit lane, both in 3 and 4 and turns 1 and 2. The actual pit lane itself, Todd, has got some banking to it. Not a lot, but there is some banking before you make the left-hand turn to get into the flat concrete pit box.
It does, and I always thought that was an advantage because a tire is less likely to roll away and be uncontrolled because the banking will return it back to your pit box. That was one of the pieces that we thought was good here, but it's a different and unique pit road from any place else we go on the circuit.
Field is getting the one-to-go signal right now after setting those tachometers. We're getting ready to go under the green flag here at the Martinsville Speedway. Alex, we're positioned high atop the start-finish line. We're looking down on the grandstands. Everybody on their feet right now. I remember the first time I came to Martinsville, it was one of those racetracks that it was so much smaller in person than TV made it sound and the pictures that were painted on MRN back in the day. It's amazing to see this in person. It's almost like you can reach out and touch the cars when they come by. There are a couple of tracks that have that intimate feel. This is the granddaddy of them all right here.
It is. It is the Fenway Park of NASCAR racing, given the fact that it's old and has that feel about it, but it's also got some modern amenities to it. It's time to get the Cookout 400 underway to call the start of today's race for the Motor Racing Network from Milford, Delaware. Here's Mike Bagley.
Christopher Bell will start on the inside of row 1. Chase Elliott to his right elbow. Here they come, inching their way onto the main straightaway. Green is in the air. We're off and running here at Martinsville. Christopher Bell wasting no time, pulling away with the lead in turn 1.
So far, a clean start, very clean start. Didn't expect that after all the chaos we've seen in the previous 2 races of the weekend. This is why these guys are racing on Sunday.
They're side by side for position number 4 up off of the corner. Kyle Larson tries to get a fender out in front. While they race side by side, they're stacked up double wide from there on back.
Hamlin's got the low line in that battle for 4th position. Kyle Larson up high. Larson gets a good run off the top of turn number 2. They maintain 2 by 2 into turn 3.
Wheel to wheel for the 4th position. Behind them, they're side by side. Chris Buescher to the inside of Bubba Wallace. Buescher gets by Wallace. The lane is left opened up. Here comes Joey Logano to the inside.
Joey will fill the hole to the inside on Bubba Wallace. Bubba hung out to dry in that outside lane. He's got to find a way to get to the bottom. Nobody at the moment willing to give him any daylight.
Not a bit as Bubba stays on that second lane through turns 3 and 4. Chris Buescher's yellow, red, and white old El Paso Ford. He'll go to the inside. Now another yellow and red Ford comes to the inside of Bubba Wallace.
That's the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Joey Logano, he and Bubba Wallace get together just incidentally off the exit of turn number 2 and race side by side.
They are racing for the 7th position there. Logano gets the advantage coming off the corner, tries to clear Bubba at the start-finish line, and will so move Bubba back to position number 8.
Bubba Wallace able to slide down into the low groove thanks to a little bit of a lift from his teammate Tyler Reddick. Good to have friends here in the early going at Martinsville.
It's helpful to get that opening down there, but enjoy it here in the early part of this race. Teammates or not, once we get down to it and the black and white checkered flag's about to go in the air, those friendships can go right out the window. Double wide, Tyler Reddick racing to the inside of Byron.
William Byron trying to make it work in that outside lane, and he's got a pretty strong horse upstairs. He will drive around Tyler Reddick, take the spot away. Now knocking at the back door is Chase Briscoe.
With William Byron ducking to the inside and basically sliding across the nose of Tyler Reddick, that created a bit of a bumper car reaction with Reddick, then Briscoe, then Gibbs, then Berry. First driver hung out to dry on the outside is Kyle Busch.
Only driver really in the top 15 or 20. He's yet to find a way to the bottom of the racetrack. He's probably not going to get one right now either. They're lined up 3 deep underneath him to go into turn 1.
The Rockingham Speedway entry with Michael McDowell to the inside of Kyle Busch, Dave, who's lost 2 spots already.
McDowell to the inside will try and make it 3. Lined up behind him, Ross Chastain and Austin Dillon.
They're racing for 13th there with Michael McDowell to the inside of Kyle Busch. Busch has the opening, and he's going to slide right in front of Ross Chastain. So everybody in the top 17 or 18 have found their way to the bottom of the race.
So Busch started 12th, dropped him back to 14th.
Bowman is 3rd, Denny Hamlin 4th, and Kyle Larson round out the top 5.
Further back, here's some contact between teammates. Ty Gibbs gets into the left door of Chase Briscoe to move him up the racetrack.
He roughed up Briscoe a little bit on entry into turn number 3. Chase Briscoe now shoved up to the outside lane. Will go nose to nose with his teammate Ty Gibbs.
That's the race for 11th. Here's Gibbs, sped around in front. Briscoe's just trying to keep pace with him on the outside. Won't be able to do it out of 4. Matter of fact, he'll slide in behind Gibbs and right in front of Josh Berry.
Across the nose of Josh Berry's Wood Brothers Racing Ford.
So Gibbs up from 13th to 11th.
Car length advantage.
Over Chase Elliott, who runs second. Alex Bowman a comfortable third. Denny Hamlin fourth, and Kyle Larson fifth. The rest of the top 10 as they run. Chris Buescher is in sixth. Joey Logano seventh. Bubba Wallace has found a spot in eighth. William Byron ninth, and Tyler Reddick, Mike, has rounding out the top 10.
Ty Gibbs is 11th. Chase Briscoe is 12th. You got Josh Berry in 13th. Michael McDowell 14th. Kyle Busch has fallen to 15th with Ross Chastain in 16th. Austin Dillon in 17th. John Hunter Nemechek is 18th with Zane Smith 19th, and Ryan Preece posted right now in 20th.
Austin Cindric 21st. Todd Gilliland is 22nd. A.J. Allmendinger loses a spot. He'll fall to 23rd. Cole Custer is currently 24th, and Daniel Suarez 25th. Noah Gragson 26th. Ty Dillon goes 27th. Brad Keselowski 28th. Carson Hocevar 29th, and 30th is Justin Haley.
I want to focus in on the driver that's running 31st right now. Ryan Blaney did not have the qualifying lap he was looking for yesterday. Started this race in 32nd. He's been able to move up one spot, Alex, and he's not pushing the point. They've got a good Ford Mustang. He's flying the Advanced Auto Parts colors this weekend, and right now following Justin Haley off the end of the back straightaway. Right now, Ryan Blaney just picking and choosing his spots very carefully.
He is, and he's back in 31st position. We talked, Todd, a moment ago before the drop of the green flag. How do they need to climb the leaderboard? He said pass cars. He's passed one so far in the opening 14 laps.
And we haven't seen the racetrack really get rubbered up to the point where this place gets wide enough that you can find other places to go. I really think this is a good point of showing patience on Ryan Blaney's point. We'll see where that goes as we get, say, 30, 40, 50 laps into this run and see whether the racetrack gets wide enough he can start to move his way forward.
Lap 16 on the board. Christopher Bell is the man in front.
Let's get ready.
So when they're discussing rubbering in the track, the more laps that these cars run and the particular Goodyear tire that was brought, not Firestone, Goodyear tire that was brought to the track, these drivers will get more of that into the concrete surface. The inner portion of the turns of Martinsville are actually concrete. You switch over to asphalt when you're going down the front and back stretch, but in the turns themselves and that inner section of it, the concrete will actually work almost like a cheese grater across the tires. There will be marbles, small pieces of tires that end up in the outer line, which makes it difficult for the cars in the second lane to drive. But yet the more that they drive across that, the more that you have the tires, the sticky tires that are on the track surface actually attaching to the car tires, and then allow them to go through the turns and not have the rear end feel like that it's sliding out on them.
1 laps remain in stage 1. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hi, I'm Daniel Suarez.
So green so far for all 22 of the laps, and the cars have remained. There's been a small amount of Denny Hamlin moving up one position to 4th, William Byron moving up one position, Ty Gibbs picking up 2 positions back in 11th. Kyle Busch is the biggest mover the wrong direction back to 15th. He got caught in the outside lane and was not in the preferred lane, and that was difficult for him to get going. He found a space between cars, cut back into it, and is now holding on to the 15th position.
Wins the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki, 1992 champion.
MRN Classic Races.
In the whole pack, steaming for the finish line. Dale Earnhardt wins a Winston 500.
So if you're listening, let us know where you're tuning in from, and would love to hear that so we know a little bit more about our audience and where our reach is going to. So would love for you to leave a chat, interact. And also, who are you rooting for? Who's your favorite NASCAR driver? I know this is a primarily IndyCar channel, and we will be keeping an eye on Kyle Larson, currently running in 5th place, the winner last weekend at Homestead, as he will be running for the Arrow McLaren team in a partnership with Hendrick Motorsports for the Indy 500 this upcoming May.
machine just getting better.
Cookout in Martinsville. Fast service and fast cars. Awesome food at max speed. Cookout is where the hamburgers are char grilled.
So something I realized, this is the same tire that was run at Bowman Gray for the Clash earlier this season. The winner of that particular race was Chase Elliott, and LeCoux takes the lead.
He and Noah Gregson hit each other a couple of different times. Keselowski finally able to get by, but Gregson I don't think was all that pleased.
Neither one of them have got the race car they want or need right now, Alex. Noah Gregson, that car's been stuck in the outside lane. Not because people have necessarily put him there, but because he just won't rotate. That car just won't rotate in the center of the turn. Brad Keselowski hasn't got a perfect race car either. They were both kind of making the best of what they had, and they did make some contact.
It's getting physical.
They're running back in 27th and 28th.
They've been beating each other's doors off and either's bumpers off as well. They continue to go at it in turn 2.
Todd Gilliland giving Austin Cindric a little rat-a-tat-tat at the back door just to let him know he's there. Usually you do that once or twice, and then you assume that they're just holding you up on purpose.
Well, Todd Gilliland's got a good race car. He's passed more cars since the drop of the green flag than anybody here today, and he wants another one. He goes to work on Cindric again.
He's not happy with that. He wants more. Austin Cindric, though, has managed to put about a half a car length down between himself and Todd Gilliland.
Off turn 4, they race their way to the main straightaway. Watching some drivers get a little physical in the early going. We're only 29 laps into the 400 that we will run here this afternoon. Chase Elliott has gotten the lead away from Christopher Bell. He's been able to leave him, and slowly but surely, Bell is starting to fall into the clutches of Alex Bowman as Bowman separates himself from Denny Hamlin.
Christopher Bell was very clearly the best car at the start of this on the short run, but he is backpedaling just a bit now. He'll fall into the clutches of Alex Bowman in another 3 or 4 laps.
And while we watch that, we'll keep another eye on Ryan Blaney. This is about the time in practice on lap count where his car really began to come in as we got a caution on the Speedway here at the Martinsville Speedway. No one has gotten out of shape here at Martinsville as we take a quick scan of the racetrack, but pace car is going to come on the Speedway. We are under caution here for the first time here this afternoon in the Cookout 400 with Chase Elliott being scored as the...
That was interesting to me. It showed the caution on the timing and scoring before it was actually announced or anything that we saw. So it'll be interesting to see what this caution is for.
Has been spotted on the racetrack. That piece of debris is in turn number 4 and has been kicked up out of the groove. Safety crews will tend to that piece of debris in just a moment. So this affords the opportunity for teams to, well, basically make a decision. We come into pit road for tires or not. Todd, I see a lot of helmets going on some heads down there on the pit lane.
I got to think everybody takes the opportunity, most everybody takes the opportunity to come to pit road and tweak on the balance they had. Now we've got an opportunity to have that 40-50 lap run here in practice. Green light at pit road's open, green light's on.
And here comes the race leader. As a matter of fact, the front 10, 12 cars. Josh Berry will elect to stay on the racetrack. He was 13th. He's going to stay on the track. Austin Cindric stays on the track. Meanwhile, Chris Wilner more in front of you.
It's been a really good start for Chase Elliott, who's the first to hit his pit box. Alan Gustafson say going on the jack. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires. Packet full of Sunoco fuel. No major complaints, though, for Chase on the radio. Chase Briscoe is in no front drive on his Toyota. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 Goodyear Eagle Sunoco fuel down and away. Bowman is in. 4 tires and fuel. Contact on the pit road. Steve Post.
Kyle Larson is in. 4 tires. No visible adjustment. Sunoco Racing fuel for Kyle Larson. Race off pit road. Christopher Bell wins it off from pit road. Joey Logano goes out second. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and Denny Hamlin go out in your front 4 spots. So it looks like some interesting pit strategy down here as Christopher Bell wins the race off from pit road, and they look like they have done it with a 2-tire stop.
A big move from Logano, who started 7th.
Harbor Freight. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads.
So a number of cars decided to stay out at this particular time. They will work with the track position. Looks like 6 cars stayed out, and they will try to hold serve and hold those positions and race their way until the first stage. So is this strategy for stage points? Is it that they felt like their car was working well enough and that track position was most important? So the Wood Brothers driver Josh Berry and the Penske drivers of Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney stayed out. Looks like a whole bunch of blue ovals up there in the front. The first 5 positions, Ford staying out.
Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Appreciate you tuning in to our Here and Now Sports special presentation on 33 Dreams of Indy, off weekend for the Indy cars. Their next race will be at Long Beach in a couple weeks. And we will transition our coverage for other racing series and other events over to Here and Now Sports. But glad to have you tagging along here, and love to know who your favorite drivers are and where you're listening in from. Are you a primarily IndyCar fan or NASCAR fan? Would love to know that. Kachow 95, how are you doing? Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. As you see, we will track the chats on here and information. Glad to have you tuning in.
Stream anytime, anywhere. No fees, no strings, just NASCAR.
Now, an interesting thing as well is that I heard that they do have wet tires available to them in order to run, just in case there's any weather events that occur there in Martinsville. So I'll take a look at the radar myself for that area and see what might be in that area. There's a little bit of line of showers that is off around Blacksburg and in the overall area might be just a passing cloud. That could make things real interesting. Kachow, thanks for tuning in, coming over to the IndyCar territory as we cover NASCAR this weekend. And then we'll have future events on the Here and Now Sports channel on YouTube.
Position number 7 overall, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. The rest of the top 10, they have made their choose, and they are doubled up for the restart on the back straightaway. A couple of Fords will bring us back to the restart zone and the green flag at lap 38. That'll leave us with 42 laps remaining in stage 1.
We're about to find out just how valuable fresh tires are. It looks like the Whelen Engineering lights have just come back on top of the pace car, so they've waved off the restart. But we're about to find out just how valuable.
So if you're ever at a race, when they turn off the lights on the pace car, that lets you know that the following lap that the pace car will be coming in and that they will be going green. So board indicates that it's green. Radio will catch up with this. Why don't we show the race on the screen? There's contractual rights within the United States, other areas, for the broadcast to be on Fox. So we're doing this as a watch-along live screen. A lot of times we'll have individuals that will watch this on one screen and watch the race itself on another screen, so that I provide a little bit more background information to what's actually going on the track, or information like that with the wet weather tires that might be going through, looking at the actual radar, keeping you up to speed on what's going on.
Some did. We're about to find out if they made the right adjustments overnight coming into the race day today. As the green flag goes back in the air, inside lane, gets a whale of a jump. Josh Berry's going to lead the field back to 1.
Berry will lead into turn number 1. Austin Cindric trying to fight back on the outside lane. He'll fall in line in the number 2 position. Behind them, side by side, the battle Cole Custer. He'll go to the inside now for the 2 spot.
Further back, Chase Elliott just dives it in 3 wide to the inside of Riley Herbst and Alex Bowman. It's going to pay off. Elliott and Bowman wheel to wheel for position number 9.
Riley Herbst kind of caught up now 3 wide to the outside, and he's going to plummet backward right now, try to keep it out of the fence. At the front of the pack, the battle is for second. Cole Custer down low.
Cole Custer takes his Haas factory team for now the number 2 spot. Austin Cindric quickly snaps the steering wheel back to driver's left to protect the bottom.
Cindric right there in that number 3 position. Ryan Blaney rides in 4th. Brad Keselowski 5th. They're single file back to about 8th place, where Joey Logano's on the move to the inside of Elliott.
So fresh tires for Bell in 6th. We'll see if he starts moving up.
Side to side, he's trying to find a place in line. He still is on the outside of a 3 wide as racing starts to get a tad physical here at Martinsville.
Boy, you talk about stressful. He's been about 3 laps trapped on the outside. Certainly not by choice. Just trying to fight his way back at least into the high groove. Nobody letting him do it. He's still 3 wide.
Yeah, he is. It's awfully physical throughout the running order as they make their way back across the line. Lap number 43 goes up on the board. Now, William Byron is not a part of this mix up towards the front of the field at the moment. Chris Wilner, what's the latest there out of the William Byron pit?
Well, he came down pit road on lap 33 under that caution, Alex, but they had trouble with the right front. He spent some 6 seconds on pit road, just plummeted through the field, so he had to restart well outside the top 20, so an early mistake on pit road, costly for William Byron here early.
Right now, he is buried in the 32nd position, while up front, Josh Berry.
That's where he restarted, was 37th, and a lot of cars trying to get past Logano at 7th.
First side-by-side battle inside of the top 10. That's the race for 6th. Christopher Bell and Joey Logano going at it there.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski right now is a bit of a log jam in that 5th position. He's got Joey Logano down low, rapping on the back door, wanting some room. He's got Christopher Bell in the high groove doing the same. Logano now goes to the low lane.
Logano will make his way underneath Brad Keselowski's race car, take that spot away. Alex Bowman's going to get physical, gets into the left rear of Keselowski, moves him up the track into Christopher Bell.
Keselowski and Bell both go all the way to the outside wall. They keep it out of the fence. Everybody makes their way by. Some aggressive racing by Alex Bowman here in the early going.
33 laps to go in stage 1, and the front bumpers are already in use. Let's pick up a side-by-side battle with Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott in turn 2.
Here they come out of turn 2 to the back straightaway. That's the battle for the number 7 and 8 positions. Inside line belongs to Hamlin. Top side, Elliott.
They make their way up turn 4.
So as you're watching on the board, you'll see the delta to the leader and delta to the next car. This indicates that Josh Berry's stretched it out to about a 1.3 second lead over Cole Custer. So far, that's worked out good for him on his tires.
Going backward. Here comes Kyle Busch down low.
Further back, A.J. Allmendinger moves Ross Chastain, and Chastain goes way up the racetrack. He's trying to fend off the advance from Chris Buescher, while Hocevar and Ty Dillon are wheel-to-wheel behind them.
Here they come off turn 2 to the back straightaway. A.J. Allmendinger does what you do at Martinsville. Move somebody out of the way and then run before they can regroup and get back at you.
A Team Penske fight for position on the racetrack. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, wheel-to-wheel for position number 4.
4th spot up to grabs. Joey Logano powering down to that low line. Ryan Blaney trying to hold him off in the outside groove. For the moment, he'll do it, but Logano's got the low lane.
Trouble for Denny Hamlin. He takes it up the racetrack, started the commitment to the inside of turn 3, and the car took off on him. Right up the banking he goes. He's been able to bring the car back down. That was a scary moment for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and it looked like it was just on his own. I didn't see anybody get into the back of him. Not sure if downshifting, the car hopped on him a bit or whatever the case may be, because they do, in fact, downshift going into turn number 1 and turn number 3 from 4th gear down to 3rd gear.
Right now, Josh Berry leads. You've got Cole Custer in 2nd, Austin Cindric in 3rd. Good battle for 4th behind Cindric.
That's Joey Logano once again to the inside of the racetrack.
Logano up 4 positions since the restart, as well as Larson and Bubba Wallace up 4 positions. Alex Bowman
alongside, and Ryan Blaney will slam the door in Bowman's face to hang on to that spot. We're at Martinsville Speedway, not that far from Stewart, Virginia. Well, maybe 20.
So William Byron started 10th. That pit stop, they were not able to get the jack to raise the car completely up on the right side. They changed 4 tires, but because of the jack issue, that dropped them back to 32nd. That'll be interesting now to follow the 24 car that started 10th, went back to 32nd on lap number 57. So we'll see what progress he's able to make through the field in strategy.
1:25 to go in stage one. His lead over Cole Custer is 2.2 seconds.
Cookout in Martinsville, fast service and fast call.
So with Josh Berry making the playoffs already, NASCAR racing, if you win a race, you are qualified for the playoffs. He'll now be looking for stage points, because stage points get added on to your points that you have at the end of the season, and they allow you to then get better or more points as you enter the playoffs. The playoffs are all reset, and then the stage points that you have will allow you, and the number of wins that you have, give you bonus points, so that when you start off that first round of 16 cars, you have a better chance of making it through to the 12, the 8, and then into the final 4 in the way that the playoffs work. So this decision with the tires, Josh Berry must have felt that they were working fantastic for him. He decided to stay out. So far, that's been a good decision. But you see Joey Logano, who actually put tires on, Alex Bowman. They're both up 5 and 6 positions.
Cindric in 4th, Alex Bowman in 5th. They race wheel to wheel with 21 to go in the first stage. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Looking for motorsports coverage?
So 2.4 second lead over Custer, and then you'll see that Joey Logano is right on the back bumper of Cole Custer himself. But quite a gap out there. The Wood Brothers driver will start coming up on lap traffic, at least one car here within the next 4 or 5 laps, and then there's at least a full front and back straightaway before he comes in with any other cars. So that shouldn't hold him up. Berry has a bit of a lead there for the Wood Brothers in their home state of Virginia.
Family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org.
While we have this, also a interesting thing to see on the timeline. I like this, and you'll also see it if you're I hate to rub this in, Kachow 95 Racing, but if you're watching online or watching on the FS1 broadcast, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner that they'll have a green bar, and then in the middle of it, there's a little yellow slice. This represents when there was a yellow flag in the action. There also are the little breaks to indicate when the next stage break is coming up. So something when you glance at your screen that you'll be able to see, and we'll give a bit of a rundown here in just a bit as Bubba Wallace makes his way on up through the field as well.
And he'll ride that candy cane-colored curving through turn 3 and 4. He'll slide up in front of Austin Cindric and will take the 7th position. Now Cindric now has friendly fire at the back bumper.
His problems are not over yet. He's got Bubba Wallace there. He's got Ryan Blaney there. He's got Tyler Reddick there. Here comes Bubba to the low line.
Bubba drifts up the track, shoves Cindric high off the corner.
So Cindric back 5 positions or 6 positions. This will now be 7 when Wallace goes by him. So Cindric, Blaney made the gamble on tires. They've slipped back. Christopher Bell back 7 positions. Your current leader, Josh Berry.
Going, he's up in the 12th position. He's got Christopher Bell right behind him, and behind Bell, here comes Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs to be a part of the mix.
Pretty good single file battle for the moment. Bubba Wallace has taken the position finally away from Austin Cindric. Cindric will drop back in line, but not for long. Tyler Reddick punches a hole to the bottom.
Cindric on the older tires beginning to fade just a bit. Speaking of Goodyear tires, Steve Post, the driver that's been able to drive his way 6 positions.
We'll have to keep an eye out for that name that you're talking about there, Dime Drawer. Lou, I'm looking here, Skunt. Okay, so we'll keep a eye out on that. The development driver market, interesting to see that and where those drivers actually end up if they make it all the way through, if seats are available when they get there.
So tight center, 2 tires, what's the strategy call, and how would that impact the race car as far as the handling goes? The performance looks really good now, but is that something that would impact a little bit tight in the center of the corners?
Actually, when you put two tires on, I feel like the balance gets a little bit tighter. You got older left sides on the
And we've got a spin on the track, so we'll go to caution here.
right front to help the turn.
The 17 car. Now, how many of you saw the old El Paso car and thought, oh, my goodness, tacos tonight would be fantastic? I kid because I care. But yes, Busher goes around, and we have our second yellow of the race.
Josh Berry, the best of those. Now we're starting to see those that took tires back at lap 33 make an impact as we've got trouble on the main straightaway. Chris Busher has spun his car around, damage on the left rear. He's sitting crossways on the racetrack, and that will put us under the caution flag for the second time here this afternoon.
As Josh Berry continues to show the way, Joey Logano, Cole Custer, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott, your top five.
Busher got help from the 77 car. Let's scroll on down. The 77 car, we've seen him with some issues before. Well, look at there. It's Carson Hocevar that got into the back of him. I guess he got a little impatient, but we've got pit stops that are now scheduled. We'll see what Josh Berry does at this time. Yeah, clearly the 77 car, as they were coming across the start-finish line, got into the back of them. So these pit stops are key with the cars coming in because of our stages. We're going to be coming up on lap 80, and the Wood Brothers car is in. Joey Logano decides to stay out.
Upgrade to an Easy Talk intercom system to comfortably communicate over the noise of the race. To learn more, visit racingelectronics.com. Be race ready. Be RE equipped.
So the 21 car in, the 41 car in. We'll see the 9 car is also in. We'll see who stayed out and how this impacts with 7 laps to go in this particular stage.
Chase Elliott, who is solidly there in the top 5, they're going to help him with an adjustment packet full of Sunoco fuel. Changing those 4 tires, so too is Chase Briscoe. Hard to get center off. He's also going to get an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Down and away, Steve Post.
Josh Berry brings his car in. They're pretty happy with the long run speed on that race car, but they wanted some new tires on it. 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles, Sunoco Racing Fuel, the call for Josh Berry. Here's Christopher Bell. He did 2 tires the last time. Let's see what the call is here. And this time it's going to be 4 tires and chassis adjustment. Chase Elliott goes out first. Denny Hamlin goes out second. Looks like Cole Custer goes out in the 3rd spot with Josh Berry and Kyle Larson, your front 5. That, of course, of the cars that have pitted here on this pit stop on lap number 73.
Joey Logano stays on the racetrack, and he's about to lead his first lap of the afternoon. He'll become the 4th different leader of the Cookout 400. Alex Bowman stayed out as well. So did Brad Keselowski. So did A.J. Allmendinger, Ryan Preece, Eric Jones, and John Hunter Nemechek. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
So talking about the bonus points that would come from a stage, this is a calculation by Brad Keselowski. They've been struggling the entire race, but are they far enough up by being in 3rd that they can pick up some stage points? Same thing with Allmendinger, Preece, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, with the drivers that we really have not heard anything from. Nemechek started 16th, Eric Jones starting 31st. So if you see the start position here of a number of those drivers, they are gambling that they can hold out. By the time we go back green, because it takes a couple laps for them to get the pace car to go green, there will only be a few laps left, but this could also lead to some chaos. Just as we come to the stage break, where they'll have another yellow at lap 80.
Got a couple of issues brewing here at Martinsville. Kyle Busch is on pit road, a very slow pit stop there, while Josh Berry, Alex, just came to a stop off turn 2.
And he is being pushed by a tow truck back to the pit lane. Not sure what the issue is there. Steve Post, what's the latest?
No power. He tried to recycle the engine, the ECU. Nothing has fired that car off. Right now they're thinking it might be a battery. The battery maybe has fallen out of the box or fallen out of alignment or falling out of connection. And right now, Miles Stanley, the crew chief, is going through the various things. One guy go inside the car.
Already a lap down. He's back to 37th for Josh Berry, who was leading before this pit stop.
From leading this race to sitting silently on the backstretch with some kind of problem under the hood, they're going to go to work on it and diagnose what's going on with that Wood Brothers Ford.
This is after Josh Berry led 40 of the opening 76 laps. Todd, when something like that happens, Posey just said Miles Stanley, who is the crew chief, is directing some traffic. Do you have predetermined plans when something like this goes on where certain crew members address certain things so everybody's working as efficiently as possible?
No, not really. I think you're going to every situation's its own. So you just have to be a general at that point and tell people by names who's got to go where. The 21's rolling off pit road, so whatever it was, they got it sorted out.
As they make their way back out onto the racetrack, Josh Berry at the moment has lost 1 lap. He is currently the first car 1 lap down, back in the 37th position.
So there will be, hopefully it will go green, and it's going green here with 2 laps left to go in the
to keep you connected to NASCAR.
Stage.
You are. Learn more at Xfinity.com/mobile.
So Josh Berry falls back in line as everybody got the one to go. We'll choose what lane to restart in. Joey Logano will start on the inside lane. Alex Bowman will go topside. Brad Keselowski
3 wide going through. Let's see if Eric Jones can actually make that work with his teammate on the far outside. They only have 1 more lap that they have to do this for.
As he enters the box, he is away, leading the pack to turn 1.
He threw a little bit of a stutter step at them, accelerated briefly just before entering the box, then backed off, and then lit the candle. He's away with the lead. They're 3 wide on the back straightaway. John Hunter Nemechek, or Eric Jones rather, gets into the back of Chris Porter. They're side by side, 3 wide on the front stretch.
They come across the line. We begin the final lap of stage number 1. Logano leads the field to turn 2.
Bowman rides in the second spot. A.J. Allmendinger around the outside for third. They're 3 wide still. Back for the number 6 spot. Ryan Preece in the middle. Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek.
They are throwing haymakers for spots outside of the top 5 as Joey Logano comes to the green and white checkered flag and will win the first stage of the Cookout 400 at Martinsville. Alex Bowman across the line in second. Third was A.J. Allmendinger. You've got Brad Keselowski finishing 4th. Eric Jones was in the middle of that scrum from 5th on back. He was able to finish 5th with John Hunter Nemechek in 6th. Ryan Preece in 7th. Chase Elliott in 8th. Denny Hamlin 9th. And Cole Custer in 10th.
That look at the top 10 and who scored points is presented by the Powerball. The NASCAR Powerball playoff is back. Start your entries for the chance to win $1 million at NASCAR Championship Weekend. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR.
Don't miss your...
So those cars made a calculated risk, did not come in for the yellow flag. Luckily, they were not collected in anything. I'm talking about Keselowski. Eric Jones, Nemechek, and Ryan Preece were side by side, 3 wide through 2 of the turns, both ends of the track. But they are rewarded with the top 10 finishers getting bonus points, stage points, and this will pay off for them. They hope later on in the season they'll now be coming in with this mandatory yellow, and they will make their tire change and then fall in further back in the pack. So it was a trade-off risk-reward. We'll see as well if Logano and Bowman stay out or if they come in. I would imagine that they're going to stay out at this particular point.
Working caution flag number 3 today of the Cookout 400. This one for the conclusion of stage number 1. Joey Logano picked up the stage win from Martinsville Speedway.
So what do you think of stage racing? I know we're on an IndyCar channel, special presentation of Here and Now Sports. We'll be moving over to the Here and Now Sports channel for future events like this, but wanted to go live. It's an off weekend for IndyCar. IndyCar does not have mandatory stage breaks. I know last year they had a special event at the Thermal Club that was $1 million challenge, and that had different stages within the race. But as a regular portion of it, to give you an example, the first race at St. Pete this year went green from lap 5 on, and then the second race there were 0 yellow flags throughout the entire race, which led to a lot of strategy between the different teams, tire strategy, fuel strategy, those types of things. So what do you think of the stage racing? I know it's been in for a number of years.
To Martinsville Speedway, presented on MRN by Progressive Insurance. It's easy to bundle your home and car insurance at Progressive.com.
Right now, the field is under the caution flag. It's the third one of the afternoon. If you're just joining us, the first caution came out for a piece of debris at lap 31. The second at lap 71 when Chris Buescher got spun on the front straightaway. And the most recent caution, the one we're working right now, came out at lap 80 for the conclusion of stage 1. And again, Alex, Joey Logano scoring more stage points in these Cup Series races.
Yeah, he has. He just needs to get his way to the black and white checkered flag first before everybody else. He's had a heck of a drive this year, just hasn't had the finishes he's been looking for. It's the second stage win of the year for Joey Logano. However, the first stage win since the Daytona 500.
Watching the field move around the racetrack right now, of course, Joey Logano winning here with Todd Gordon back in 2018. Joey looking for his first win of 2025. So is Alex Bowman. He rides in second. A.J. Allmendinger, Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Preece. They're all lined up to get their first win of the season. Now, granted, we're only 85 in. We've got 315 to go, and a lot can happen between now and then. Pit road is open. Alex Bowman will stay on the racetrack. Logano and a few others will come down the pit lane. These pit stops will take place at lap number 86. We begin with Chris Wilner.
A.J. Allmendinger cracked the top 10 after staying out during that last caution. Is going to come down, get 4 Goodyear tires, fill it up with Sunoco fuel. No major complaints on the radio for him. He's going to be the one on my section of pit road with some others like Eric Jones, as well as Brad Keselowski opting for tires here at the end of stage number 1. Steve Post.
Joey Logano was in. Remember, he did the 2-tire stop back on lap number 34, so this is going to be 4 tires, Sunoco Racing Fuel. Mission accomplished as far as the stage goes, but they've got some work to do. Also in on pit road is Josh Berry. Josh was a lap down here as he lost that lap when the car stalled, and what Miles Stanley has described to Josh Berry is a battery failure was the reason that Wood Brothers Ford lost power back there on the last caution period.
As he was a lap down, speaking of Josh Berry, he did not get the free pass by a beneficiary of being the first car 1 lap down here on this caution flag. That went to Chris Buescher. So Buescher will get the free pass here after he fell a lap down after getting turned around and spun here on the front straightaway.
So with Alex Bowman staying out on the racetrack, he will keep the lead with John Hunter Nemechek in second. Chase Elliott will restart this race in third. Denny Hamlin fourth. Cole Custer in fifth. Kyle Larson is up to sixth. Christopher Bell in 7th, Bubba Wallace in 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Tyler Reddick right now posted in 10th. We chatted in the commercial break, Chris Wilner, about a possible problem for Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, Mike, he came over the radio and said, guys, I lost my cool suit. And what that is a special shirt underneath the fire suit that pumps cold water. It plugs into the race car. It's got a kind of a filtered bottle of water, and it pumps cold air. Well, the problem is when that goes out, that water just sits there. And so as Ty Gibbs rolls around the racetrack, that water just is going to heat up, and then thus heat the driver up. It's like sitting in an oven or some sort of sous vide like in your kitchen. So they're going to give him some ice on the next pit stop, but Ty Gibbs now going to have to battle the heat. Now, it's not hot outside, but of course when that system fails, it's just going to roast you in the driver's seat. So that's going to be something Ty Gibbs is going to have to battle the rest of the way.
It's going to be tough, and that's part of the reason why NASCAR Cup Series drivers are as tough as they are and earn the money that they do. You have to face adversity sometimes, and this is certainly a challenge that Ty Gibbs is going to have to deal with. Now, Todd Gordon, when we came to Martinsville Speedway.
So the cars that came in and pitted, Joey Logano's back to 29th, Allmendinger 30th, Keselowski 31st, Eric Jones 32nd, Ryan Preece 33rd. So they dropped back quite a bit. To give you a couple updates, Kyle Busch, they spoke of, started 12th back to 26th. He was one of our long shots that highlighted in the first part of it. So it's Bowman. Nemechek decided to stay out. That'll be interesting of his tires versus the other cars of Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. Be interesting to see if he takes the inside or outside lane for his restart with the used tires. Should probably start inside so he doesn't have the impact of that.
Cindric camp, but remember, he was a little bit off strategy. Brian Wilson said all weekend that they were going to be the most aggressive in terms of trying to get track position, but then again, Austin started to fall back during that last run, so I'll double check in with the team, but he wasn't happy on the radio with the handling, but I'd be curious if maybe something further was an issue on this Ford Mustang. Let me check that out.
Austin Cindric having challenges here in the early going at Martinsville right now, being posted 37th of the 38 cars that are on the racetrack, so hoping to overcome some early race adversity.
Yeah, that's just part of it. And if there's a good time to have adversity, it's early in the race. That way you can really take the opportunity to fight your way back. Now, this is the Cookout 400, and we want to welcome to the broadcast a good buddy of us at the Motor Racing Network, Cookout representative Rue Reeves. So
the second stage that'll come up will be longer. This is going to be 100 laps, so a little bit different. Again, strategy that these drivers are going to have, although we've already eaten up 11 of those laps with the yellow flag that we have, the mandatory yellow, and our lights are out on the pace car that we see, so we should be going green here pretty soon.
Light 160 and Light World.
How did you get involved in racing? How'd you get your start?
I just followed my brother's footsteps.
That's a good one to do. Yeah, he just won, by the way, in the ARCA Menard Series East race the other day, as we're about a half a lap from going back under the green flag. Tell me real quick, what do you like so much about Martinsville Speedway? What's fun about coming here for you?
I like the short track and the battles.
Yeah, there's a lot of that for sure. Now, I got to ask you, we talk about it a lot, me and you, but...
So Nemechek did take the inside line. They're currently 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through, so we haven't worked it out to be the single file line as Chase Elliott's holding his own on the outside. And we complete another lap where Elliott does finally, yes, he's able to cut in.
Command of fire engines. Thank you.
And he takes the lead. So now the first 4 cars are single file. The 5th place falls in line. So for Nemechek, he holds serve a little bit, but is in 5th place on the start of it.
Off the top of turn number 4, Elliott gets the bite. He'll lead by half a car length off the end of the front straightaway.
Alex Bowman not done yet. Trying to fill the hole again on the bottom. Doesn't look like he'll get it done. Chase Elliott back to the point at Martinsville Speedway. Bowman back to second. Denny Hamlin is third. Kyle Larson in fourth.
Here they come up off turn number 4, storming back to the start-finish line. Chase Elliott, the race leader, opens up 2 car lengths. Denny Hamlin takes a peek to the inside of Alex Bowman for second.
Can't find anywhere to go. He'll fall back in line this time. First side-by-side battle is for 6th place. That's where Bubba Wallace has got the bottom of the racetrack. Topside Cole Custer. Here comes Hamlin now for second.
1 lap ago, Burt Myers got turned sideways towards the tail end of the field. Heads-up piece of driving by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Both drivers able to park peaceably as the leaders head to the backstretch.
And the battle is on for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position. Alex Bowman has given up the number 2 spot to Denny Hamlin. Now Kyle Larson's going to take it to the high lane.
Here they come back to turn number 4. Larson tried to diamond it. Dave said he took the high lane. He cuts the car to the bottom, and it's going to work, Dave, as he goes to turn 1 to the inside.
Alex Bowman now in danger of getting drop kicked back to 4th place. That will happen. Through on the inside is Larson. Bowman back to 4th. 5th spot now belongs to John Hunter Nemechek, then Bubba Wallace.
And keep in mind that Alex Bowman is on tires. He put on at lap 33. He's going to have to play a little bit of defense here. Found himself back into straight line here. We've got most of the guys in the front in single file.
Alex Bowman on 40-lap old tires right now, running in fourth with a good battle right behind him.
Bowman, Nemechek, and Custer on the used tires, and you see them dropping back.
Bubba goes to the inside. Nemechek on the same older tires that Alex Bowman is. As a matter of fact, Nemechek's going to drift up the track, and here comes the land rush.
Just going to have to pick his battles, this John Hunter Nemechek. He's lost the bottom of the racetrack. Now to the inside comes Ty Gibbs. Right on his back bumper, Cole Custer. Then Christopher Bell.
Then Chase Briscoe. Then Tyler Reddick. Then Michael McDowell. Then Ross Chastain. You get the idea, Dave. You get punted to the outside lane at Martinsville. It's almost like you're left out of the draft at Talladega.
John Hunter Nemechek is just going to have to take a little bit of a beating here unless he can find some room into that low line. So far he can, and the battle for the lead is heating up.
It is. Denny Hamlin is running down. Chase Elliott at the top of the order. Elliott has the lead by a car length over Denny Hamlin.
Just one car length now is the advantage. It was 5 or 6 just a handful of laps ago. Chase Elliott into turn number 3 with the lead over Denny Hamlin.
Elliott and Hamlin have quite the comfortable margin over Kyle Larson. Bubba Wallace right now is giving Alex Bowman fits. This is the race for fourth. Wallace is trying to find his way through.
Shoehorns his way to the inside, shoves the nose to the inside of Alex Bowman. No question that Bubba Wallace has got the quicker car. Bowman on the older tires trying to play defense.
He is, as here comes Bubba Wallace.
So even if Bowman were able to get down to the bottom of the track, he's running laps that are about half a second slower than the other cars. So he would just be in the way. Once he gets pushed up to the outside, then it becomes a bit of a freight train going by him with those 40-lap older tires.
Everything is settled down at the front 10 or 15 spots or so, but mid-pack, that's where people are just rooting and gouging for everything they're worth. We're watching Ty Dillon and William Byron right now. They're in a side-by-side battle with Austin Dillon. Carson Hocevar doing the same behind them.
But if I didn't know any better, Mike, I think they didn't like each other very much because they are certainly not sparing the rod here. Closer to the front, changing the top 5. Ty Gibbs now will move under Alex Bowman.
He'll do that as Alex Bowman drifts back another position. Good racing all the way around.
Logano moved up 6 positions since the restart. He's going to be coming up on that Dillon and Hocevar battle here in just a few seconds.
2 of the last 3 here at Martinsville Speedway while starting outside of the top 10. But starting 32nd, playing a little strategy, now working their way up the leaderboard. Blaney is now up to the 13th spot, Todd. They used some fortuitous caution flags and a little strategy, and obviously a pretty good race car.
Yeah, cycled themselves forward. We felt like this was one of the best cars in practice yesterday. When I talked to people in the garage, they compared themselves to the 12 and the 9. That was the 2 that I continued to hear. I expect this out of Ryan Blaney, and when this run goes longer, we'll see where they go. Really looks good wrapping the curb right now.
Well, the 9 that Todd refers to is Chase Elliott. He's the race leader. The 12 is Ryan Blaney. He right now is running in the 13th position. Watching Ryan come off the corner, he's starting to slowly but surely apply pressure to Michael McDowell, who is sporting a black and white Rockingham Speedway paint scheme today.
Ryan Blaney's done it enough here at Martinsville to know that you can't do it all at once. Just a car length at a time, trying to reel in Michael McDowell. When he gets to the back bumper, he'll try and make that move and pick up the spot.
You got to be methodical here, and you got to be able to have your car rotate in the middle of the corners to get a good run and drive up underneath other drivers on the racetrack, as Bowman is in jeopardy now of losing another spot. This time Cole Custer is beginning to work him over for the 6th spot. We've got 71 laps to go here in stage number 2. Chase Elliott continues to show the way. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network.
So Gregson up to 15th, 3 positions up. Joey Logano up 10 positions to 19th since the restart. John Hunter Nemechek has dropped with an anchor. He is back to 20th, 18 positions down. Checking back a little bit with a couple other drivers. Austin Cindric up to 33rd. Shane Van Ginsberg. He is up to 30th, 3 positions down since this last restart.
Lane, Chris Wilner.
The Xfinity fastest lap for the race so far belongs to Chase Elliott with a speed of 93.276 miles an hour. He did that at lap 94. If it stands, they'll claim the Xfinity Fastest Lap Award and earn 1 championship point. Sign up today for a super fast connection to NASCAR and never miss a second of the...
So the 1 point for the lap, similar to what you saw last year in Formula One, although it's not a championship point this year for Formula One. It's also not a championship point for the fast lap in IndyCar, so something that has been adopted by NASCAR. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the playoff picture.
This time he'll move him over. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Eric Jones.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. right behind those two. Best seat in the house. He, of course, with that bright orange Sunny D colors. This battle's not over. Allmendinger and Jones are still side by side.
A.J. Allmendinger's got the bottom of the racetrack, courtesy of a bit of a bump and run in turn 3 last time around. But Eric Jones is not giving up the ghost. He's hanging with him in turn 3.
And this all started with the 43 making a move to the outside of the 16 off of turn 2. The 16 squeezed him up into the wall. That's where Eric Jones gave the 16 the boot. A.J. Allmendinger into 3 to start with. Battling side by side pretty hard.
Again, A.J. Allmendinger in the 16. You got Eric Jones in the 43. They continue that side-by-side battle. Closer to the front, another driver on the move. Here's Joey Logano. He's trying to root and gouge his way to the inside of Justin Haley for 17th.
Has gotten some inside room down low. Haley will run topside off turn 2. Gets a good run off the corner. He'll keep Joey Logano in the rear view, at least until now, when Joey gives him a little shove into turn 3.
Justin Haley drifted up the racetrack, and that enabled Logano just to pivot and turn and go right up underneath him. Here they go again in turn 2.
Yeah, Haley drifting up the racetrack had something to do with Joey Logano's front bumper, shoving him into turn 3 a little bit deeper and a little bit faster than he had planned on.
So Logano up 12 positions since the restart. He was in the lead, winner of stage 1, decided to pit, went back in the field, and is now slowly making his way back up.
Brings the field out of the corner. He'll put lap 118 on the board. That gives us 62 laps to go in stage 2. Davey's about to get busy. He is on the same straightaway as the tail end of the field.
Yeah, they know he's coming for sure. There's just not a lot they can do about it. Burt Myers only a car length ahead as Chase Elliott close in.
He does. Chase Elliott's going to have to make a decision on which way to go on the Walnut Cove, North Carolina pilot, Burt Myers. Myers goes to the bottom of the track. Here comes Elliott topside.
Burt Myers hugs the bottom, gives the leader plenty of room to the outside. Chase Elliott will motor past. Next in line, that little tougher customer, Chris Buescher, will be next to go a lap down, but he's still about 10 further car lengths ahead.
Yeah, Chris Buescher right now sitting on the tail end of the lead lap. In front of Buescher, you've got Cody Ware. You've also got Josh Berry, who's already 2 laps in arrears. Austin Cindric is back there. Brad Keselowski, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ryan Preece. They need to get with the program, Alex, because if they don't, they're going to find themselves in position to lose a lap. Problem for Burt Myers off the corner. Looks like his car has lost power to the inside of the racetrack. He is just very slowly coasting down the front stretch. And Alex, he's about to come to turn 1, which obviously the bottom of 1 is the preferred lane for the cars at speed.
Yeah, and he's not moving very quickly as a caution flag will come out for the Burt Myers car, who's nearly come to a stop in turns 1 and 2. Let's check in on the pit lane.
Just some of the stories we're following down here. The confidence of Bubba Wallace is really, really stout. He's running in the 4th spot. Charles Dunyk said, the guys in front of you are about a little bit quicker, about a half a tenth quicker. What do you need? Bubba just cues the radio and says, I'm fine. Car is good. The confidence here for Bubba Wallace is really, really good.
So Bubba Wallace right now on the racetrack, solidly inside of the tunnel.
We saw that used tires worked for about 10 laps, but with this much time remaining in a stage, would expect to see a majority of the cars come in at this particular time. Also, early in the race, Christopher Bell took 2 tires, and that dropped him back a bit from the lead. He's now currently running in 7th.
2311 Toyotas towards the front of the field as well.
Yeah, as we work under caution, Chase Elliott, the race leader, when he gets back around to the line, will lead his 41st lap of the day. That will break the tie for the most laps led so far today between he and Josh Berry. Barry, just a tough break for he and that Wood Brothers team. Were leading the race earlier, had a battery failure in their race car and lost 2 laps. Now they're back in last place in 37th.
With 56 to go in stage 2.
Let's get racing. She's rounding the corner straight for the straight top.
So, a number of the cars set to come in. Denny Hamlin's crew is all set, ready for him to come in. We'll see a majority of the drivers at the front of the field making their pit stops here with 56 laps to go in the second stage, excuse me. They've already completed the first stage. Joey Logano in the 22 car, the Penske Ford, was the winner of the first stage. Number of cars took and did not take pit stops and were able to jumble the top 10, but that has all sorted itself out for this particular group, and we'll see how many of the front runners come in for this particular yellow caution to get Goodyear tires.
On your streaming device and start watching today.
Under caution flag number 4, the Cookout 400, Burt Myers coasted to a halt at the end of the front straightaway and was able to make his way around to the exit of turn number 2. Had to have the assistance of a wrecker to get him pushed into the garage. And right now, Burt Myers is...
A number of Toyotas stayed out. So Hamlin, Wallace, Gibbs all stayed out.
It'll be at lap 126, and they will choose to pit, at least towards the front of the field. Oh, Denny Hamlin, a late decision, decides to stay on the racetrack, while Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson commit to the pit lane, including Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and a whole slew of others. Let's cover the Elliott stop.
Chase Elliott is in. Said the track hasn't changed yet. The turn feels still pretty good. He was last on pit road on lap 73. Routine 4-tire change in Sunoco fuel. Chase Briscoe is in. So too is Alex Bowman on the oldest tires as A.J. Allmendinger has to back out of his box. He's sticking out of his box after getting boxed in on his way in, but Bowman is down and away. Steve Post.
Right side tires only for Kyle Larson. That's going to put him off from pit road a whole big distance ahead of everybody as they roll in. Here's Christopher Bell getting 4-tire Sunoco Racing fuel. Joey Logano, 4-tire Sunoco Racing fuel as well. Really, the sentiment we're hearing down here, and this is a number of teams, everybody really is getting frustrated that we have not had a long run yet. We still have a lot of uncertainty about what the cars will do on a long run, and there's a lot of teams just wishing we could get a good extended run to see what their cars can actually do in that circumstance.
So we'll see where the board comes out, because Hamlin did not pit. Bubba Wallace did not pit on that particular group. Ty Gibbs. So we'll see where that all sorts out.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance and working with your hands.
So 48 laps of the 100 in the second stage. And Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs all decide not to pit on that particular pit stop, as well as Cole Custer, Daniel Suarez. Then the first car that did take 2 tires, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe also taking 2 tires, and then the 4 tires of Chase Elliott. Ross Chastain jumping up with 2 tires. Joey Logano, he was lap 89, was in 29th position. He now gets his way up to the top 10 with a 2-tire stop. So a varying degree of strategies here within this particular stage. And Hamlin, Wallace, Gibbs feeling confident enough to not come in at this particular time and get any tires. So we'll see if that holds them out, if they're anticipating that there'll still be one more stop between now and the time that the stage ends, or if they're setting themselves up overall and try to see how their tires are doing.
Suarez rounds out the top 5. Again, they did not pit in this sequence. Now, you heard Steve Post report, Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels and that team elected to put on only 2 fresh Goodyear tires. They came off the pit lane first, so they'll be 6th in line. The rest of the top 10 will see Chase Briscoe 7th. Chase Elliott is 8th, Ross Chastain 9th, and Joey Logano 10th.
Watching Alex Bowman come down the pit lane right now. The crew is changing left side tires, topping off the car, and he's not moving. Very slowly coming out of the pit box for Alex Bowman. Here's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming down the pit lane for service. This is at lap 129 as we continue under this 4th caution flag. Let's check in with Chris.
The crew, Mike, had to quickly get into action for Alex Bowman. He said, I don't think the left front is tight, so they brought him back down, tightened it. They didn't change tires. They just completed 4 tires on that last pit stop at lap 128, so had to tighten the left front just to ensure nothing happens with Alex Bowman. He's down and away, but it's going to lose all that track position.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Alex Bowman, who has led some laps today, 6 to be exact. He's been battling inside the top 10 for the better part of the afternoon. We're getting the one to go this time by here for the Cookout 400. And Denny Hamlin's going to opt to restart on the outside lane. Bubba Wallace, the driver that Denny employs at 2311 Racing, will go to the bottom side of the racetrack, Mike.
And Ty Gibbs will restart on the inside of row 2. Good run for Cole Custer here in the early going. He'll restart on the outside of the second row. Daniel Suarez inside. Kyle Larson outside of row 3. Behind them, Chase Briscoe to the inside of Chase Elliott. Behind them, Ross Chastain will restart to the inside of Joey Logano. When they come back to the line, the green will fly at lap 131. That'll leave us 49 laps to go in stage 2.
Plenty of room left by Bubba Wallace for his employer, Denny Hamlin, and Hamlin takes the lead.
Hamlin on the outside lane is the control car as the race leader. Quickly to the zone, he jumps on the throttle. Hamlin goes to the gearbox. Looks like Bubba Wallace is going to fight him all the way to the corner.
They are side by side into turn number 1, but around the outside goes Denny Hamlin. He'll regain the lead. Bubba Wallace now will fall into the second spot. Ty Gibbs through on the bottom for 3rd.
Denny in that progressive Toyota just trying to run for his life right now, trying to get out of Dodge and leave everybody in his wake. Right now he's got Bubba Wallace behind him, Ty Gibbs. Now they're stacked up for 4th.
Here comes Daniel Suarez to the inside for the number 4 position. He'll drive to the low line on Cole Custer. Side by side down the back straightaway and into turn 3.
Still wheel to wheel for the number 4 spot. Matter of fact, they're stacked up double wide for the next 20, let's call it 30 positions on the racetrack. Only the front 4 are single file at the moment.
Everybody else 2 by 2, and now a little bit of 3 by 3. Somebody gets kicked wide to the outside.
Larson caught on the outside, and Cole Custer that didn't stop. He's getting shuffled back.
3 wide into turn 4.
That looked like Cole Custer got the heave-ho from Kyle Larson off the end of the front straightaway. Now Cole is 3 wide with Logano to his left and William Byron at the bottom.
Absolutely nowhere for Cole Custer to go. Nobody cutting him any slack. Nobody allowing him to get down out of that 3rd groove. They continue to pile drive into turn 3.
Yeah, normally it's the driver on the outside lane that goes backwards, but now in the 3rd lane, it's Cole Custer that's getting the bums rush. As they continue to stack up there, McDowell gets into Custer again.
Custer goes even wider on entry into turn number 1. Still 3 wide down the back straightaway. Nobody cutting Cole Custer any slack. He gets shoved up again in 3.
Cole Custer's got to be wondering, what in the world did I do? I'm just
16 positions back since the restart for Cole Custer.
Now he finds himself in double wide formation, but he has fallen all the way back to the 18th position, while Denny Hamlin at the opposite end of the straightaway is leading Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, and Daniel Suarez. Suarez is about to have his hands full. Chase Briscoe is on the hunt. He's looking low in 1.
Working hard on the back bumper of the Daniel Suarez machine is Chase Briscoe. That's the nose-to-tail battle for position number 4. Briscoe looks low into 3, nothing there.
As Suarez on the older tires trying to hang on in front of Chase Briscoe on the fresher tires. That was the same scenario with Cole Custer a moment ago on old tires.
Here they come into turn number 2 again. Briscoe sniffing the bottom. This time he's got some daylight. He'll shove his way underneath the Daniel Suarez automobile, move Chase Briscoe to 4th place.
And he'll grab that spot coming off the corner, and Suarez will fall back to 5th. Let's drop deeper in the field. This is the race for 20th, and they are going at it. Zane Smith inside of Justin Haley, and they're stacked up behind him.
They almost had a big old mess a couple of laps ago here in turn 3. He got crowded down to the bottom of the racetrack, did Zane Smith, hopped over the curb, came up across traffic, and fortunately didn't catch anybody.
Speaking of hopping over the curbing, Kyle Busch just did that in turn 3. He tried to force his way to the inside of Riley Herbst. Riley would have none of it. That forced Kyle Busch to put the left front on the curbing. He hopped up. He got the car back down to the bottom on the racetrack, and he's just going to try to hang on now. And oh, by the way, he's going to go to the inside of Cole Custer as well. Custer is going to look to his left and see about the entire field before this sequence is over.
Cole Custer continues to plummet. He has dropped anchor, and right now he's fallen to the 25th position, finding himself in a side-by-side battle with Kyle Busch. Busch will make the pass, and now the lap car of Josh.
Dropping as well were Suarez and Larson, both dropping 3 positions. Kyle Larson with the 2-tire gamble or strategy is now back to 9th. Ryan Blaney right behind him in 10th. Joey Logano had 2 tires. He's lost 3 positions from 10th to 13th as they're now all single file for about the first 13, 14 positions.
Trying to do all he can to hang on to a spot in the top 10, but with the fresh Goodyear tires on some of these drivers, Dave, just a tough ask.
He's lost a spot to Chastain. He's lost a spot to Christopher Bell. Now one to Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson wants to keep that string going.
Here they come off the corner as they race their way to the main straightaway. Denny Hamlin leading. He's pulling away from Bubba Wallace. Everything is settled down in the front 5, front 10 spots or so. Right now on the racetrack, we look further back. Chase Elliott is starting to get antsy, diving to the inside of Christopher Bell in turn number 3. He'll complete that pass and come off the corner.
They make their way back to the start-finish line into turns 1 and 2. Dave, things getting physical. A lot of parts of
Elliott's the first car with 4 fresh tires out of this group. In front of him, Chastain and Briscoe only took 2 tires, and then the first 3 cars did not pit on this last round of pit stops.
Moving forward, he just took a spot from Kyle Larson.
Ryan Blaney on the move. He right now is getting the 9th position. Larson going back to the number 10 position, and Blaney looking for more, trying to bypass Suarez.
He's on the back bumper of Daniel Suarez now, down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Not close enough to mount a challenge this time around.
No, not quite there yet, but he certainly has plenty of opportunity. By the way, we're down to 32 laps to go here in stage number 2. Denny Hamlin at the front of the field. Bubba Wallace is second. Ty Gibbs goes third. Chase Briscoe is up to the number 4 spot, and Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5.
Kyle Larson brings his Chevy 4 tires Sunoco Racing Fuel.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the...
So that's a commercial that they have there. Larson not coming in at this particular time. Ryan Blaney up 6 positions with his 4 new tires. He's up to 9th, working on Daniel Suarez next. Suarez has dropped back 3 positions, also making a move. Christopher Bell up 4 positions. As we scroll back through the field, Zane Smith up 7 positions, up to 18th. Since the last restart, A.J. Allmendinger was strong in the first stage with some strategy. He's up to 21st, up 6 positions. Let's check in with what happened to Cole Custer. Ended up losing 25 positions. He's back in 29th. So between Alex Bowman in 28th, Cole Custer in 29th, John Hunter Nemechek in 30th. That early strategy that they were trying to do has not helped them out any.
As a matter of fact, 4 Toyotas occupy the top 4 spots. He's got Bubba Wallace second, Ty Gibbs third, Chase Briscoe fourth, and then the Chevrolet of Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Good morning, guys.
74 of the 100 laps that are in stage 2. That puts us 154 laps of the 400 scheduled laps here at Martinsville Speedway over the course of the race.
America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
From legendary races to heart-pounding finishes, NASCAR Channel is your 24/7 pit stop for all things NASCAR. Streaming classic moments, iconic rivalries, and behind-the-scenes stories from the world's greatest drivers. Dive into the NASCAR culture with shows about the cars, the teams, and the personalities that make it America's most exciting motorsport. Best of all, it's completely free. Stream anytime, anywhere. No fees, no strings, just NASCAR. Start streaming now on Tubi.
So the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place cars all pitted on lap 125. Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, their last stop was on lap 72. So are they going to need to come in before the end of this stage, or are they going to try to stretch it the rest of the way? We're 78 of the 100 laps of the second stage.
$1 million at NASCAR Championship Weekend. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR.
Denny Hamlin shows the way by 1.7 seconds over Bubba Wallace second. Ty Gibbs goes in position number 3. Running 4th right now is Chase Briscoe, but that will change. Chase Elliott goes up and underneath, so give Chase Elliott the 4th spot. Chase Briscoe falls to 5th. Ross Chastain is 6th and Christopher Bell 7th. Ryan Blaney is 8th, Kyle Larson 9th, and Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Let's check in on the pit lane with Chris Wilner.
It's a breath of fresh air for Ty Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing, especially this 54 team. It has been a tumultuous start to the season, really dating back to last year. They've been outside the top 20 in 10 of the last 11 races, and now running top 3 at Martinsville. Ty Gibbs much happier, but I talked to his crew chief Tyler Allen this weekend. He said it's been tough. This whole team has been down to the dumps all year long, knowing that they can run better. The expectation at Joe Gibbs is to not be running as bad as they have. They felt like they've made some strides this weekend, and that track position was going to be key. The fact he was last on pit road at lap 73 gave him this track position, and even though Ty Gibbs is working behind the wheel without a cool suit and temperatures are starting to rise in the cockpit, he is now starting to find some speed in that Joe Gibbs Toyota, just lacking a little drive off, and he's able to use the curb trying to match Denny Hamlin. But really, really strong effort for the Joe Gibbs Racing team as Ty Gibbs looks to try to right the ship here at Martinsville.
To say 2025 has been a disappointment for Ty Gibbs is a dramatic...
So Chase Elliott's able to get the position, first car with the 4 tires, and he's starting to make his way up through a delta of 2.8 seconds, 2.7 seconds. So there's a gap for him to catch up with Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. But Chase Elliott making his way up through the field.
To get some good mojo jump started in that Toyota team.
And it all starts at the race shop, Mike, in the simulation program, the setup they put on the race car. When you unload, you've got to be close with your setup, or on the good side of it, when you go out and have your one and only practice session, qualify, then you got to put together a complete race. But Todd, let's go back a little bit. Chris Wilner mentioned that he's trying to use the curbing in the corner to help the car. What is he doing, and how do you do that?
Well, that's kind of finicky. I don't believe he's actually driving up on the curb as much as he's trying to stay as tight to it as he can, because we're seeing that big black streak of rubber from the right side tires around the corner. If you can sneak to lefts within an inch or two of that curb and keep it be very disciplined there, you can run under that rubber and get turned in the car. Something Ryan Blaney's been really good at, and I've watched him continue to do it here today.
Right now on the racetrack, we're watching everybody starting to close in on the tail end of the field. Denny Hamlin just starting to do the old tiptoes to the tulips, Dave. He's got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. about a quarter of a straightaway in front of him.
Yeah, he's going to have some lap traffic to deal with. That's the bad news. The good news is that Bubba Wallace is still fairly far behind, not able to put any pressure on Denny Hamlin right now.
About 13 laps to go in stage 2. So at this point, the commitment would be that Hamlin and Wallace would stay out and try to gain the stage points and win the stage at this particular standpoint.
May have one of the faster cars on the track right now. He's moved up to 3rd place and is pulled away from Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs now begins to fall into the clutches of a JGR teammate in Chase Briscoe. How about Ross Chastain? We had conversation yesterday in practice and qualifying that Ross Chastain needed to be monitored over the course of this race today. A lot of us felt that he could have a good run, and right now Ross Chastain is solidly inside of the top 10, running in the 6th position, 5 seconds behind race leader Denny Hamlin, who has caught the tail end of the field in turn 2.
Working his way now up onto the back bumper of the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. automobile. Cody Ware not too far ahead, then John Hunter Nemechek.
John Hunter Nemechek has had a nice drive today. He used some strategy early on with a fortuitous caution flag to get a little bit of track position. Since then, it didn't work out because they got off sequence on the tires from everybody else and have been dropping back. But this is a driver, Dave, that has put together a nice start to the season. He's one of a...
So Hamlin catching up with the back of the field, his 2 tires versus some of these cars, although they're slower, they are 4 tires, and so far he has not been able to get by Stenhouse. There's 3 cars in a row that he will have to get past, and Bubba Wallace is now falling into the front bumper area of Chase Elliott.
Trying to live up to that expectation here as we work through this green flag run. We are now in the longest green flag run of the day, Alex, 41 laps.
And that's exactly what some of these teams were wanting based off of what Steve Post and Chris Wilner have been reporting today. Get an idea what your car is going to do, because in practice, they had a 25-minute practice session yesterday here at Martinsville, Virginia. And in that 25-minute session, they were able to run upwards of 60 to 65 laps consecutively. So they knew what their car was going to do, Todd, but it can be a tad frustrating when you're set up. And
first 3 cars are all within the front stretch now, and you could cover them all within turn 1 with Denny Hamlin getting inside now of Stenhouse and Elliott right on the back bumper of Bubba Wallace, peeking to his outside.
You get frustrated when you see the caution fly at 25 to 30 laps, but you've got to adapt to that and keep in mind that one of these runs that's going to be more laps is coming at you. You got to make sure that you got good long run speed to take advantage of this at the end.
Now running our 43rd consecutive green flag laps. We have come to Martinsville in races past, and we've had consecutive green flag laps in the hundreds where no cautions are happening, and just everybody's in that zone and clicking off laps one after another after another. And right now we're up to lap number 45. Good challenge for second out of turn 4.
Elliott makes it into second.
Elliott is on the prowl in turn 1.
Elliott looks down to the inside. He makes himself some daylight, slides to the inside of Bubba Wallace. As they have raced for second, they've gotten closer to Denny Hamlin, who had a devil of a time putting a lap on Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
As Bubba Wallace is passed by Chase Elliott, the pro-Elliott portion of the crowd rises and gives a salute right now as he will take the spot. Bubba overdrives turn number 1, but will hang on to the spot. Let's go to pit road and get an update on Chase Elliott.
And Chase Elliott doing a nice job catching and passing Bubba Wallace. Several laps ago, he mentioned now where the rubber's at on the racetrack. He's one of a handful of drivers that the last several laps of the run has had to enter the corner about the middle, above that bottom groove, above where the rubbers start to stack up, and then get the car pointed back.
So a graphic showing that's 2,500 laps led at Martinsville for Denny Hamlin, as he is still working Cody Ware as the lap traffic. Elliott is now within 0.7 of a second with him. 2 laps to go in this particular stage.
Just to keep the right sides in the gray and then actually try to turn across the rubber to straighten out the exit and make the forward drive. The other piece that I've seen out of a few cars that are really good here, they end up rolling right underneath the rubber, right against the curb like Ty Gibbs was talking about earlier.
Here's Denny Hamlin in traffic with now 2 to go in stage number 2.
And he is really struggling in that traffic. He's been 5 or 6 laps trying to make a move on Cody Ware. He hasn't been able to do it. His lead over Elliott now is down to 5 car lengths.
And he still, that's Denny, cannot get by the Ware car or the John Hunter Nemechek car. 1 to go in stage number 2 as the leaders go back to the corner.
Here comes Elliott.
So the board's a little ahead of what the call would be there.
As they exit turn number 2, Denny Hamlin still can't deal with the lap traffic.
Not quite. Cody Ware is in position to get the free pass. He's trying to keep the race leader at bay to earn that free pass as the green and white checkered flag goes in the air. Cody Ware is able to do just that. He'll be able to get the free pass as the green and white checkered flag along with the caution flag are displayed. Stage number 2 is in the books, and here's the top 10 in the stage and who will score points, presented by Sunoco. From fueling your favorite NASCAR teams to filling up at the pump, Sunoco is trusted to help vehicles perform at their peak. Sunoco, performance is what we do. Denny Hamlin wins stage number 2 of the Cookout 400. Chase Elliott second, Bubba Wallace third, and Ty Gibbs fourth. Chase Briscoe finishes the stage 5th with Ryan Blaney 6th, Ross Chastain 7th, Christopher Bell is 8th, Kyle Larson 9th, and Tyler Reddick 10th.
Still getting around to that 50.
So a couple gambles there. Joey Logano took 2 tires. That dropped him back to 12th, but still he was back to the 29th position after the end of the first stage. So he held serve there, and now we'll see with 4 tires if he'll be able to come back through the field and be a factor at the end. William Byron with the 2 tires back to 13th. 14th, Noah Gregson. 15th, Zane Smith. A couple of the drivers that we've heard about, Allmendinger up to 20th. And then let's check on Kyle Busch, see where he is at. Probably scrolled right over him. So hold on one second. We'll see where Kyle Busch was able to get to. So it is Suarez, Logano, Byron, Gregson, Smith, Dillon, the law firm there, Gilliland, McDowell, Allmendinger, Hocevar, Haley, and then Keselowski. So
for children with serious medical conditions. And the best part, because of the generosity of friends from around the world, camp is completely free for the families we serve.
So we'll look for a number of these cars to come in. I don't believe that we're going to see all of the 2-tire shenanigans that we did the last time. We're going to see a lot of 4-tire stops as they reset themselves for the next stage, the final stage of the race. This will take them to the black and white checkered flag versus the green and white checkered flag. So the last stage, 220 laps that they'll be looking to cover. And we'll be looking to also have another green flag round that was that was the longest green flag run that we had throughout the race. So a little bit of a break here, a special coverage on 33 Dreams of Indy of a NASCAR race brought to you by Here and Now Sports. We'll have this over on Here and Now Sports for any upcoming events that we have, but with an off weekend for IndyCar, wanted to tune in with some of you. Appreciate you listening in. I would love for you to comment where are you listening from, who are you rooting for. Would love to know that, and then we'll pay special attention to those drivers, answer any questions that you have about the action that's going on that maybe they're not covering on the regular coverage.
50 green flag laps there? The longer run, I felt like the 4-tire cars came forward. Chase Elliott was on 4, almost made it up to Denny Hamlin, who had stayed out. The first 2-tire car was Chase Briscoe. He ended up 5th. He was farther forward. But it seems like that's a play that we saw several crew chiefs do because the short runs we had, the longer run, I think, was setting itself up for the 4 tires to dominate.
And we're about to have pit stops here at the end of this stage, and then that sets us up for a 200-lap-plus run. And we were talking about it before we went on the air. When we mentioned the final stage, Todd, you had a smile on your face. That's where you can kind of get a little creative there on the pit road.
Well, if it goes green, I really feel like you want to split that one right in half. Take the best of the tires on both sides. It's a little anxious because you go over a lap and a half down under green if you pit under green to the leader. So hopefully everybody comes at the same time, but I would think that after we get done with the stage 2 break, if we go green, I would look forward to split about in half. cautions will always change those well-laid plans.
So you can't stay completely married to your strategy. Sometimes you may have to stray just a tad, and that's about the only time if you're married that it's okay to stray. Keep that in mind, kids. As we clean up the racetrack out there, there's a lot of marbles being swept up out there, and what the marbles are is when
So while they come in for the pit stops, we'll take a little break here ourselves. We'll let you listen in, and then we'll reset it for you after they get done.
And they got that all taken care of right now as the pit lane opens up. Chris Wilner is about to get busy along with Steve Post. Chris?
Oh, it really is, because everyone's anxious to get tires on their race cars here as we watch the field come down pit road. It is going to be awfully busy as Ty Gibbs will be one of the leaders bringing it down. We mentioned the good run he's having. Said the track's tightening up. We have to keep up with it. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. Chase Briscoe is in. Best I've been on fire off the building tight. Chase Elliott, who was there battling for the lead, said tight on fire off, but I love my rear security air pressures, 4 tires and fuel. Steve Post.
Kyle Larson did 2 tires on that last run, noted that the car was tight in the center, so they're going to go 4 tires, a minor adjustment on that. Here's Bubba Wallace. This feels like he needs the left rear down in the racetrack a little bit more. Denny Hamlin going to win the race off from pit road. There goes Chase Elliott in second. Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, and Christopher Bell goes out in the pit spot as they roll around the speedway. Tight in the center is what Ryan Blaney is. He gets down in the corner good. We've talked so much about him wrapping the bottom. He loves the way the car gets down in the corner, but he just can't get it to rotate quite as well as he has here in the past. So we'll see if Jonathan Hassler can put a tune-up on it and get that car a little bit better. Pit stops, lap 187, the end of stage number 2.
We'll reset the running order when we come back.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower.
So we'll have to check this one out. Currently it's showing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. With a 4-tire stop as to whether or not he was able to get in. He started 34th. They're now showing him in first. We'll see if the board resets, if that's just where he was at when the cars went into the pit road.
As best as you can and as sideways as you can. Our team, Toyota Gazoo Racing. Toyota makes some seriously fast cars, and they all have great drivers, ones that win, like win a lot. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, they're all part of a big, happy family of speed demons. Now you're up to speed. You in? Follow the action at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Every hero's story has a humble beginning. Every legend had to earn their stripes.
So while he's talking about your local track action, grew up racing at a track that doesn't exist anymore, Yakima Speedway. There's a photo here with driver Bob Lesh and the number 12 Monte Carlo. You see the car in action there. Yes, I did actually have hair at some point in my life. But that started the passion for racing. Picked it up a number of years later with a direct passion of IndyCar racing. IndyCar being off this weekend. They'll be back in 2 weeks at the Grand Prix of Long Beach. So checked in here on a NASCAR race. Admittedly have not sat and watched through an entire NASCAR race in a while, and so far love the short track action. That's what I grew up racing on, and am enjoying seeing the different 2-tire, 4-star tire strategies. As I anticipated, Ricky Stenhouse, that was a timing and scoring loop that he got caught in, and so the team's 4-tire stops. Let me check that to see how far down were 4 tires, and it appears everyone that stopped this particular time all made a 4-tire stop at that time, all the way back to 35th position with Shane Van Gisbergen.
Zane Smith is 13th. Austin Dillon goes 14th. Michael McDowell is 15th. Tyler Reddick 16th. Justin Haley 17th. Ty Dillon is 18th with Todd Gilliland 19th and Noah Gregson 20th.
Eric Jones is 21st. Ryan Preece is 22nd. Brad Keselowski is 23rd. 24th is Alex Bowman, and 25th is Kyle Busch. Austin Cindric is 26th. Carson Hocevar 27th. Riley Herbst 28th. AJ Allmendinger 29th. And John Hunter Nemechek is 30th.
Cody Ware is 31st. 32nd is Cole Custer. 33rd is Chris Buescher. 34th, and the last car on the lead lap is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. One lap down in 35th is Shane Van Gisbergen. One down in 36th is Casey Mears. One down in 37th is Josh Berry. 6 laps down in 38th is Burt Myers. After a mechanical problem put him behind the wall, he's back on the track. All cars are still racing.
They're getting the one to go here at the start-finish line. Everybody choosing which lane to start in, inside and out. Denny Hamlin will restart on the inside of row 1 with Chase Elliott to his right elbow. Bubba Wallace will restart on the inside of row 2. Chase Briscoe to his outside. Christopher Bell will restart on the inside of row 3 with Kyle Larson to his outside. When they come to the line, it'll be the green flag and 207 laps remaining in the Cookout 400.
Which means we close in on the halfway point of today's race on an overcast day.
So will Wallace be able to get inside of Elliott because they started on the outside? Elliott started on the outside, and Hamlin, this restart, starts on the inside.
Martinsville Speedway. Denny Hamlin gets away with a race lead.
Hamlin quickly away with the number 1 spot. The battle for second will be Bubba Wallace to the inside, Chase Elliott to the outside. A little bit of contact midway on the back straightaway.
Bubba Wallace to the inside of Chase Elliott as Elliott slides up the racetrack. Chase trying to get a better run for the top of turn number 4. He'll get it for now, but it's not enough to propel him into a battle for the lead.
Behind them, Christopher Bell just slides under Chase Briscoe, trying to take over the number 4 position. Battle for second still on. Chase Elliott this time with a bit of an advantage.
He is on the outside lane. He's got some pace up top there. Tries to squeeze Bubba Wallace to the bottom of the track. Chase Elliott is going to get that position back after a good solid challenge from Bubba Wallace.
Very impressive bit of rim riding on the restart for Chase Elliott. Takes him to the number 2 position. Now let's see if he can close that 2-car length deficit to Denny Hamlin.
Further back, Chase Briscoe tried to slam the door in the face of Ryan Blaney. Couldn't do it at the entrance of turn number 3. Instead, Briscoe and Blaney will race side by side for position number 5.
Blaney's got the advantage in that low lane. He's also got a trunk full of Kyle Larson saying, "Get on, son. We want to get up there and contest at the front of the pack." Briscoe trying to hang tough on Blaney.
He is, but I don't think he's going to have a lot of success in doing so. Ryan Blaney's car is really good. He's able to get that car to rotate in the middle of the corner, stomp on the throttle, and drive away, and here comes Larson.
Blaney up to 5th.
Kyle Larson will fill the hole to the inside of Briscoe.
Larson at 7th, but looking inside, making his way up to 7th.
Larson had to take some evasive action to avoid making contact.
Larson will hang on to that spot. Chase Ross Chastain, that is, behind Larson. And now Ty Gibbs under attack from Logano on the outside.
Joey Logano doing it the hard way. He goes to the high lane. Tries to ride his way around. Oh, he got into the outside wall. Scrapes the safer barrier at the exit of turn number 2.
Tight quarter racing there up off the corner, but everybody keeps him running.
You could definitely see the safer barrier flex as he hit that.
First side-by-side race is further back. Austin Dillon, for the moment, took a peek now to the inside of Tyler Reddick. That's back around the 15th spot.
That battle will settle down as they race down the backstretch into turn number 3 now. Joey Logano to the inside of Ty Gibbs.
That's the race for 9th. Logano again pounding his way to the inside of the racetrack. Ty Gibbs strong on the straightaway, able to keep him at bay for now.
Riley Hurst brings out the yellow.
Turn number 1, it's going to be Riley Herbst, Dave, who went up the racetrack. You were about to talk about that, I know, as you saw them 3 wide headed off to the corner.
AJ Allmendinger was on the bottom. Riley Herbst was on the outside, and they just ran out of real estate as they hit turn number 1. Riley Herbst sent spinning into the outside wall.
He has coasted back down the racetrack. He is trying to stay on the lead lap and will do that as everybody gets woed down for caution flag number 6.
Don't miss your chance to race for the millions.
Finalists, are you ready?
So let's look back at where the positions were. That was Austin Cindric that was inside of him and had to take evasive action and go up the track as he was also rubbing tires with the car that was inside of him. So we might see a pit stop from Cindric as well, as he was impacted by that. But the 35 car was the one, Riley Hurst, that spun and brought out this caution flag. So just as we were starting to get green, then we go back to caution. Chase Elliott started on the outside. Took about 3 or 4 laps for him to be able to get past Bubba Wallace. We're going to see the same type of thing, I would imagine, with Hamlin controlling the inside line. The only time that he started on the outside, he had his Toyota teammate, an employee, Bubba Wallace, inside of him, and so he was able to pull in front, and then they went single file.
Around the Martinsville Speedway under the caution flag. We are 2 laps past halfway with Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell, and Ryan Blaney, the top 5 from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR, an exclusive podcast from the Motor Racing Network.
Green flag is
So Blaney 5th, Briscoe 6th, Larson 7th. Ross Chastain 8th, Ty Gibbs still having issues with his cool shirt, his cool suit, and he is in 9th, and Joey Logano in 10th.
Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
NASCAR fans, the time is now to turn your love of racing into free tickets, merchandise, VIP experiences, and much.
We'll go over here to our other screen, take a look at one of these ideas of a cool shirt that circulates cool water through the shirt. And what has happened is that the motor to circulate that through is not working. They've given instructions to Ty Gibbs to unplug that. Take the plug and try to allow the water to drain out of it, because what happens is while the water is there inside of the tubes, it's being heated by your body. It's not circulating, and that would cause some issues there. So a little discomfort for Ty Gibbs as he works with the cool suit. That's part of why we do the watch-alongs here, give you an idea of what you're looking at and give you some more information. If you're tuning into an IndyCar race, we go through all of the details of tire strategies, different changes that they make on the cars, try to educate you and share a little bit of the racing passion with you as you are not able to watch directly and are able to live stream and watch along with us. So 1 to go at the line. The board will catch up here in just a little bit, and then the radio coverage will be there as well. Great listening to the broadcast there on MRN. In this particular case, Elliott took I went ahead and followed behind Hamlin. That put Wallace on the outside line. So the choose lane comes into play here as now Bubba Wallace is stuck on the outside.
Evolve. The more laps we put on this to be able to adapt to the ever-changing Cookout 400, as we've just gotten the 1 to go signal here at the line. Josh Berry, by the way, is just leaving the pit lane. He was back on pit road. They've been battling an electrical bugaboo, Todd, all race long.
At the stage break, they stayed out. They were 2 laps down, so they stayed out, took the wave around to get back to 1 lap down. This became an opportunity with only, 8 laps on that run for them to come recycle, get back on tire strategy with everybody else, and now they can battle for that free pass position.
And they are the first car 1 lap down, joining Casey Mears and Riley Herbst that are 1 lap in arrears. Here's the safety car headed to pit road. The restart will come at lap 207, leaving us 193 laps to settle the Cookout 400.
Here they come up off turn number 4. Got to wait till they get to the restart zone before they can punch the button and get this race restarted. Denny Hamlin, about midway through the zone, gets on the gas. Bubba Wallace is going to get hammered in the back bumper, courtesy of Ryan Blaney.
Wallace did not get a great start earlier on. We saw some cooperation between Hamlin and Wallace on a restart. Not this time, to say the least. Denny away with the lead. Here's Chase Elliott under Bubba for second.
Chase Elliott to the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3 will ease up alongside Bubba Wallace's Toyota. Side by side for second, for fourth, for sixth, for eighth, etc. Back to the corner.
Elliott and Wallace side by side for second and third. Behind them, Christopher Bell's going to dive low. He'll take the fourth spot from Ryan Blaney,
who quickly snaps to the bottom of the racetrack to block the advances of Kyle Larson. Up front, the battle for second, that's going to end. Chase Elliott will regain the second spot. Wallace falls in line third.
Bubba Wallace just barely able to find enough real estate to squeeze himself back down into the low line. So it's Hamlin by a car length.
It helped that he had a Toyota driver with Christopher Bell right inside of him.
First driver out of line is Ty Gibbs. He is running in the 9th position. He's going after Chase Briscoe. David, he's doing it the hard way.
Trying to do it on the outside lane. Not that he has any other options because the bottom is clogged with race cars trying to take advantage of young Mr. Gibbs. To the inside, Briscoe by a nose with Joey Logano in tow.
Joey Logano quickly tries to get a nose to the inside of Ty Gibbs to disallow Gibbs to snap his car back down to the bottom. Here's Logano to the inside of Ty Gibbs.
Drove it deep into turn 1 to shut off any opportunity for Gibbs to jump back down low. But Ty gets a good pull off the top of 2. He'll slide in line and gets a bit of a boot from behind.
Yeah, he's going to get a front bumper application from Joey Logano. Although Ty is able to hang on to the spot, Ty and Joey Logano seem to have been inseparable for about the last 60 laps.
That bumper job wasn't all of Joey's doing either because he was getting a little whoop-de-doo from behind. That and the courtesy of William Byron. They've all parted peaceably this time.
And they're going to let the bygones be bygones, at least for the moment, settle back in line and now live to race another lap. As a matter of fact, lap 213 goes on the board. Denny Hamlin picking up where he left off before that last caution flag, Todd. Hamlin's a car that you had highlighted after the practice sessions yesterday with a pretty good balance of his race car throughout the day.
Yeah, when you look at this, I feel like the guys that we talked about in practice having long run speed, they found themselves to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've done it. Even Ross Chastain, I believe, in 7th, talked to him during the broadcast show. So the guys that really had good pace finding their way to the front here.
Let's check in with Steve Post.
Yeah, and listening to Denny Hamlin on the radio, the car fires off just a little bit free. He gets 10 or 15 laps into the run, and he says this car is good, and it was good all the way to the end of that long run we just had. So Denny Hamlin came here looking for long run speed, and it looks like him and Chris Gale, at least at this point, might have found it.
Denny Hamlin's lead, 1 second over Chase Elliott with 185 to go. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network.
So one thing I always pay attention to, Hamlin is in clean air at this particular time, so his car is working well. Chase Elliott has had to make his way up through traffic. So what adjustments are they making at that particular time to the action, to the car in order to adapt to being in traffic? So Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace have had to make adjustments through the pit stops. Hamlin has found himself in the lead, both on the used tires up to the end of the stage 2 and now currently. So it'll be interesting to see if their team makes any adjustments because there will be the track getting more rubber on it, more slickness as the race goes on. They have to be able to stay in front of the track.
Taking their turns atop the leaderboard. We've been slowed 6 times for caution. 2 of those were for stage breaks, 1 for debris, 1 for a car losing power in Burt Myers, and 2 spins, 1 from Chris Buescher and the most recent from Riley Herbst. Right now, the race lead is in the hands of Denny Hamlin, who wheels his progressive Toyota around this racetrack with Chase Elliott behind him, Bubba Wallace in second, Christopher Bell in third, Ryan Blaney in fourth, and Kyle Larson right now posted in position number 5.
In 6th currently is Kyle Larson with Ross Chastain 7th. Chase Briscoe is 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Joey Logano is 10th. It's been a day of adversity for a lot of these drivers and a lot of these teams. Some of them have been able to rebound, while others have not been able to rebound. One of those not being able to do so, Todd, is Alex Bowman. Remember, he had a pit stop, solid effort, but he felt like he had a loose front tire, had to come back to the pit lane.
Yeah, that was a pit stop at lap 126, and they came back down pit lane, I think, at 129, and got the left sides tight for them. They just lost their track position. Now they're having to find a way to battle back. We've had longer runs, not had those 25, 30 lap runs where you have the different pit strategies. They're still kind of tuckered back in the back and looking for that opportunity to come forward.
Let's check in with Chris Wilner.
And to add, Todd, on the issues with Alex Bowman, the fact that they lost that track position with the potential loose wheel on his Ally Chevrolet just put him back in traffic, and that way now the car, he said, starting to overheat when he was back in traffic. So in the last pit stop, they took off some more tape, but he said it was full nuclear meltdown, quote that, in traffic. So it was running hot. They're trying to address that, but again, just not in clean air is really not helping Alex Bowman's handling of his race car. They try to address the overheating situation, but also just trying to balance it back. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little aggressive here in this final pit stop in stage 3.
And really, these things, the cooling restriction is done at a blocker plate behind the radiator, so I'm not sure what they can do to kind of affect having it run hot in traffic other than try to cycle themselves into some clean air with some.
The aggression that we're also going to see was the 2 tires that were taken by some of the teams. It worked for about 10, 15 laps, but over a long period of time, drivers like Chase Elliott were able to come up and pass them. Ross Chastain got up to 7th because he made one of his stops was a 2-tire stop, and then was able to cycle through and get to the next part of the next yellow flag and put on 4 tires. They are using up John Hunter Nemechek. I'm surprised watching this that there has not been he's running back in 34th, that there hasn't been a caution flag for that activity that's going on.
Filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did.
171 laps to go in the race, and Denny Hamlin has a second lead over Chase Elliott, 2.1 seconds over Bubba Wallace.
Couple of Spire Motorsports teammates getting really physical with one another. Carson Hocevar and Justin Haley. Haley is going to repay the favor to Hocevar. Hocevar really roughed up his teammate Justin Haley last time in turns 1 and 2. They get to turns 3 and 4, and Haley gave him a pretty good shot in the bumper, but they're going to settle things down at least for the moment. Hamlin leads the way with Chase Elliott second. Bubba Wallace makes up the top 3. 170 laps remaining from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Local radio brings people together.
So not impacted by stages anymore. They are racing for a grandfather clock. That's always an interesting part of the tradition at Martinsville, going back through and looking at some of the past winners. That's also very interesting to see who has won at Martinsville before. Last year it was William Byron taking the victory. If we go back through the last couple of years, Kyle Larson in 23, William Byron in 22. Martin Truex in 21 and in 2020. Brad Keselowski making the victory back for Team Penske in 2019. And Clint Boyer, who's now an announcer for FS1 and Fox, winning there in 2018. So mix between Penske, Gibbs, and Hendrick Motorsports that we see there as past victors going for the grandfather clock. If Hendrick Motorsports wins, this will be their 30th victory at Martinsville.
The Xfinity Mobile reliable performance of the race. Xfinity Mobile provides incredible value on the most reliable nationwide 5G network to keep you connected to NASCAR wherever you are. Learn more at xfinity.com/mobile.
Let's get an update on the pole sitter for today. Christopher Bell, he's led a total of 24 laps Steve Post. Right now he has settled in the 4th position.
Now, Christopher Bell and Adam Stevens don't come to a racetrack hoping for a 4th place finish. well, maybe they did come here hoping for that. This has been a struggle, and yeah, remember Christopher won here back in 2022, but it's not been good since. Last year, finishes of 22nd and 35th, and Christopher talked to us in the practice show yesterday about feeling good about short run speed, but really concerned about long run speed. I don't think they're where they need to be. I don't think they feel they're in the promised land, but I think they can see it the way this race has unfolded for them. They've maintained good track position. The car was a little loose throughout the day. Christopher just reported that it's just a little bit snug right now, but I think relative to where they've been the last year and a half, I think Christopher Bell and Adam Stevens are probably content that they're at least making some progress on this racetrack that's not been good to them over the last few visits.
So Christopher Bell right now, perhaps maybe Todd struggling on the longer run. I mean, he had the short run bowed up yesterday, buttoned up pretty tightly, now able to win the pole. And right now he is facing a lot of challenge from Ryan Blaney. They're just trying to sort things out and trying to get as much speed as that car or make some adjustments to get him closer to the front.
And trying to figure out how to have long run speed.
As they do that as well, Denny Hamlin has caught the rear of the field. John Hunter Nemechek will be his next car that he's going to be putting a lap down.
They don't teach you that as well. You've got to learn this come race time when we're actually having these 50, 60 lap runs and sort things out. They've got good pace to their car. It's not great pace at this point, but they're making strides forward.
Yeah, they are, and this is a team in a combination with Christopher Bell and crew chief Adam Stevens at Joe Gibbs Racing that have really come into their own, given the fact that this is a powerhouse four-car team, has been for a long, long time. But when you look at who the best finishing Joe Gibbs Racing driver has been over the last, let's call it 29 races, Christopher Bell has been the highest finishing driver in 18 of those 29 races. As a matter of fact, C. Bell accounts for Joe Gibbs Racing's last 5 NASCAR Cup Series wins.
When they rattled up those 3 wins in a row earlier
So no one has really made a move with this 4 tire after the last pit stop. We are 64 of the 220 laps in, 157 left to go, and the only drivers that have made any change, and that was right at the restart, was Larson and Chastain, moving up 1 position to go there. As we go back deeper in the field to see if anybody has made a move, Carson Hocevar up 6 positions, Allmendinger up 9, and Cole Custer up 10 positions, yet they're back in the 20th, 23rd, and 24th position. So up front, none of the drivers have really been able to make any sort of move.
Where you have success, you have challenges. They're building a notebook right now they can bring back in the fall.
This is a long season in the NASCAR Cup Series, starting in February and then ending in November. So to be able to sustain that high level of performance week in and week out is nearly impossible. And to be able to do it out of the box like they have has been awfully fun to watch here. But again, to Mike's point, they're not way off the mark by any stretch of the imagination. They're in the ball game, but right now Christopher Bell currently runs in the number 4 spot. Now, Chris Wilner, we are past halfway. We're down to 155 laps to go, and I'm sure when you listen in on the radio, the word discipline begins to come into play.
Really does, Alex, and it's applying to one of the younger drivers in the Cup Series field. Todd Gordon mentioned learning the long run and how to find speed. Well, that's exactly what Ty Gibbs is trying to learn over the course of this run in stage number 3. We mentioned how difficult of a season it's been, and they're poised to have a really good run. But right now, Tyler Allen, the crew chief, as well as spotter Tony Hirschman, are trying to remind Ty Gibbs about discipline, about not abusing the front tires, because this is, again, going to be one of the longer runs of the race. So Ty Gibbs is doing a good job, but Tony Hirschman, the spotter for Ty, who spotted last night for Taylor Gray in the Xfinity Series, knows how the track is changing and where the rubber starts to lie. So he's letting Ty Gibbs know where to run and help try not to abuse those front tires. But you're right, discipline, it's easier said than done when race car drivers just want to go fast. But Ty Gibbs doing a nice job in the top 10. They're poised to have a really good day if he can just keep focused out the windshield.
If he can keep where he is right now, it'll be the best run of the season so far. Ty Gibbs, in the 6 races that we've run, his best finish is 16th, and that came in the season opening Daytona 500.
Cookout in Martinsville, fast service.
It's interesting to see the lap and the way that Chase Elliott is going through the turns, although they just lapped Cody Ware. But as he goes in, he takes a further outside entry point than what Denny Hamlin is, just outside of where the tire groove is, and then almost cuts down through the turn. Now that he's clear, he does the same thing. That allows him to make an entry above where the right side tires have been for the majority of the cars. He's out there in that outside and then is able to come back in. It has held him. He's within half a second of Denny Hamlin, so he's holding right there. If there was a car behind him, which Bubba Wallace is behind him by 2.4 seconds, so nobody right there directly on him, and that allows him to maybe not abuse his car or his tires quite as much.
Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5 from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
So we've been 68 laps since the last pit stop. One of the things we heard on the MRN coverage, Todd Gordon, former crew chief, talking about potentially cutting this particular 220 lap stage in half. So trying to make it about 110 laps on this set of tires. Now that we get to the second half of this stint, we'll see who the comers and goers are, as they like to say. Will there be cars that start to lose grip and go back through, or lose grip and cause there to be a yellow flag?
We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, the battle for the lead is tightened up. Chase Elliott diamonding the corner, meaning going high at corner entry, squaring off, diving and driving straight off the corner is paying off. Davey has caught Denny Hamlin for the top spot.
Less than a car length back now in the battle for the lead, and Denny Hamlin's got no shortage of lap traffic to deal with. He'll dive to the inside on Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room right now for Chase Elliott, even if he thought he could get up there and pass Denny Hamlin. Lots of lap traffic. Burt Myers now is the next one to fall a lap down. Van Gisbergen stays between Hamlin in second place, Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott has kind of lost track with Denny now. He was right on the back bumper. Now he's dropped back about 5 car lengths with Van Gisbergen in between them.
Longest green flag run of the day is happening right now. Lap 54 of that run is taking place. Denny Hamlin has put Shane Van Gisbergen a lap in arrears. Now he starts to apply pressure to Chris Buescher.
Trying to close in now. Denny Hamlin on the back bumper of the Buescher machine. He's still now 5-6 car lengths ahead of Elliott, who is yet to dispatch Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen hanging tough right now, creating some problems for Chase Elliott. However, Chase will finally clear the Shane Van Gisbergen Chevrolet in turn number 1. Meanwhile, the race leader underneath Chris Buescher.
Down the back straightaway, they'll run side by side, at least for the moment. Denny Hamlin able to fend off the advances of Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott running in second right now, a goodly distance ahead of Bubba Wallace, at about 2.5 seconds worth of distance between second and third. Watching Christopher Bell distance himself from Ryan Blaney, who...
So they are going fast and turning left, so it would be the other direction here, but showing you on the screen the kind of the path that Chase Elliott is taking, where he goes into the turn a little bit further on the outside, is off of the gas, then gets to the middle of the turn, cuts down in, and then hits the gas. And it's that route that he's using that has allowed him to catch up with Denny Hamlin.
right now for Kyle Larson.
They are stacked up from 7th on back. Larson in 7th, Briscoe in 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, Logano in 10th, Suarez in 11th. That's a big cluster of cars racing for a spot.
5 cars under that blanket in turns 1 and 2. Kyle Larson trying to hold him off. It looked like Briscoe was going to be able to power pass with relative ease, but Larson now is opening back up again.
He has. They work their way around the slower car, Burt Myers. That's going to force everybody else. Oh, Burt Myers has a problem. A big piece of debris came flying off of the Burt Myers car. It's going to land right here on the bottom side of the front straightaway. Burt Myers now off the pace on the backstretch.
They are powering past him on the inside. Myers just trying to stay out of the way. The big loser in that one is going to be Riley Herbst, who gave up 4 spots after getting pinned behind him.
Here's Burt Myers off the corner. He'll pull the car to the bottom of the racetrack. He is not at full speed, but he's not stalled out. He still has power on that race car, but that right now is a handful for Burt Myers, who is just trying to get out of the way of the cars that are obviously faster than he is.
What was the debris? The big chunk is actually a big chunk of rubber that came flying out of the car. Put the binoculars on it down here. That's the reason we have not gone under the caution flag. That rubber is down on the inside up against the safer barrier.
So a couple of the cars starting to make their pit stops. 24 car comes in.
His way to the pit lane. Looks like Chris Wilner. We had William Byron under green come to pit road.
Rudy Fugle told William Byron about a lap or 2 ago and said we're going to pit in about 10, but I think they were expecting maybe the caution to come out. So William Byron already completing a 4-tire pit stop. Remember, they had that bad pit stop on lap 33, had to charge through the field, did 2 tires in stage 2, still having trouble with the bite. Center off of the corner, he's down and away.
62 laps into this green flag run. Alex Bowman as well brings his car onto pit lane. Now, he is a lap down, Bowman is. Burt Myers is on pit road. He has gotten service after having that problem on the racetrack. And Justin Haley has brought his Spire Motorsports Chevrolet to pit road. Here's Cody Ware. He'll make the move to the pit lane. All these stops happening right now with 131 laps remaining.
So could this be the opening to green flag pit stops with William Byron, Rudy Fugle making the call to come in? Todd, you kind of wrinkle your forehead a little bit as you watch this play out.
Normally we would think that Rudy Fugle and William Byron would drive the pit cycle, but their track position wasn't in a position that I think they will push the leaders to make that position of coming to pit road. I really look for this to be 285, 290, somewhere close to splitting it in half. Knowing it's a lap and a half penalty, I don't think that you're going to see guys come quite this early.
Brad Keselowski, though, decides to abandon that and come to pit road in front of Chris Wilner.
Brad Keselowski coming in to bring his Ford Mustang. They're going to just top it off with fuel. He's already down and away for the RFK Ford.
He has been the highest running RFK Ford here this afternoon. He's got, he's going to give up that track position now, obviously, as he makes a green flag pit stop. Noah Gragson, Shane Van Gisbergen, they'll opt to come to pit lane this time. Josh Berry off the pace on the back straightaway. He's going to stab the brakes and come to pit road as well. These green flag stops happening with 128 laps remaining. If you're curious, in this 400 lapper 1 year ago, when were the green flag pit cycles in this stage of the race? Well, it started...
We're going to see the yellow. The scoreboard indicates that we got a yellow.
Right now on the racetrack, Denny Hamlin's lead is up to 2.1 seconds over Chase Elliott. You mentioned that Josh Berry was bringing his Ford to pit road, and again today that car has no power, Todd, as he's trying to limp his way to the pit box.
Yeah, we saw him change a battery. Actually, I think they changed 2 batteries in it. He's trying to limp into it about 3 boxes away. But
trouble, turn 3, around goes Shane Van Gisbergen, flat right front tire on the WeatherTech Chevrolet SVG all the way around in turn 3.
Caution on the Speedway for the 7th time today for a problem in front of Dave Moody.
Single car spin. Shane Van Gisbergen came into the corner, and that's not a tire problem. That's a wheel that has come loose on the right rear corner. It goes freelance as he pulls away in turn 4.
Shane had just come to pit road a lap before, and as Dave mentioned, he is missing the right rear tire. It is sitting on the outside of turn number 4, and that puts us under caution flag number 7.
college basketball.
He completely went into the turn and tried to make the left turn, and the right rear tire was not cooperating. Then as he hit the gas to try to leave the scene of the incident, the right rear tire just completely left the vehicle. So they're going to have a little bit of a cleanup there. It looks like that the lug was not put on fully. And, of course, now there's some damage to the inside of the car. This will force the issue with the pit stops. And really now you might look at it, are we going to divide the rest of the race up into, if you make a pit stop now, will you be able to make it the rest of the way? Or will there be another section of it? We always hear the term cautions breed cautions, and from that standpoint, will this bunch the group back up, and now we'll be able to see a bunch of green flag racing, or will we see caution after caution? Will be interesting to see, but a number of the cars are now going to be coming to pit road for tire stops.
Pit road, they are reinstalling a tire on the right rear of his machine. However, that has put us under the caution flag. We were closing in on green flag pit stops. We'll have caution flag stops for you in just a moment. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Good morning, guys. I just want to warn you, traffic is tough out there.
We are here for you to tell you how to keep safe.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can.
To provide the music, talk, and sports you love. And to deliver the news that matters.
So talking about pre-race, who the favorites were, Ryan Blaney currently running 5th, Kyle Larson running 7th. William Byron has had his issues throughout the day. Denny Hamlin obviously in the lead before this round of pit stops, and Chase Elliott. And isn't it funny how Vegas knows what they're doing? Joey Logano has worked his way back up to 9th, and Christopher Bell in the top 10. So other than William Byron, all of these drivers are in the top portion of it, and we'll see how that plays out as they are all going to be coming to pit lane here in just a bit.
Get your tickets for the NASCAR Mexico City weekend on Ticketmaster.
I'm not naming names.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, we are getting ready for caution flag pit stops. Pit road is open. These stops will happen at lap 279. Denny Hamlin dives off the racetrack, brings the car onto pit road, and he's going to bring just about everybody on the lead lap with him. He'll round the corner of turn 3 and turn 4, and everybody starts to dive into their pit stalls in front of Chris.
This pit cycle just about a few laps before green flag cycles, what they're expecting for Chase Elliott. He had 4 tires here on this tire change in Sunoco fuel. He said the rear security went away on the long run and made an air pressure adjustment. Ty Gibbs for 4 tires and fuel. Chase Elliott also down and away, as well as Chase Briscoe. Steve Post.
Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell both just a little bit tight, but still pretty happy with the race car. Denny Hamlin said, I'm a race car driver. I want more. I just don't know what it is. It's that good. That good as well on the pit stop. Hamlin wins the race. Off from pit road, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson go out in your front 5. So there you have it. Caution flag pit stops here. Lap number 279.
As they make their way back out onto the racetrack, some drivers that are a lap or more down elect to come to pit road. There's a host of other cars that were on the pit lane during green flag cycles, so they have somewhat fresher tires. They're going to stack up behind the pace car, and when they get the signal, they're going to take the wave around and get 1 lap back. Doesn't mean all of them are going to get back on the lead lap, because some of those drivers are 2 laps down, including Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, Noah Gragson, and Justin Haley.
Compared to yesterday's NASCAR Xfinity Series race, now I realize that we've still got 120 to go. Been a fairly tame event today. Haven't had.
Don't curse it early. The announcers curse with there being yellows coming now.
A couple of stage breaks. We've had cars losing power, but nothing really significant as far as a crashing and colliding set between drivers.
Not yet.
Yeah, way to jinx.
And we had Hamlin not knowing, or they indicated it was difficult to know what changes to make because he hasn't been in traffic. He did get a bit of traffic when he was coming up on the lapped vehicles, but not knowing what changes to make, not making the adjustments. Great pit stop by Christopher Bell to bring him up to second, and then Bubba Wallace in third. Chase Elliott drops back just slightly to fourth position.
Of the Blue Ridge 200, that was his first win in the Truck Series. Took Bill McAnally back to victory lane in the trucks, and then of course trucks will go off for one weekend. The Xfinity Series and these Cup cars will make their way to the Darlington Raceway next weekend. It's Throwback Weekend and Goodyear 400 Racing Weekend. We go from the legendary confines of Martinsville to the legendary confines of Darlington Raceway. The following weekend, we'll go to Bristol Motor Speedway, and then the Cup drivers will have their only weekend off, Easter weekend. That weekend, the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and the ARCA Menard Series East will race at Rockingham Speedway, and then we'll pick the schedule up the following weekend at the Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. We're starting to click off race weekends one after another as we work our way through early spring here in 2025.
Absolutely right. If you like the racing here at Martinsville Speedway, we encourage you to come back September 27th. That's when the late model stock cars will be here. And
part of the reason that it is race weekend after weekend after weekend, IndyCar's off. That's why you're seeing this on 33 Dreams of Indy, a presentation of Here and Now Sports. Will be on a regular network in future events, but with there being a break in the IndyCar action, wanted to tune in and see love short track racing in Virginia at Martinsville. So far has been a fairly clean race, as they indicated. That could be the announcer's curse that they provide, just like when you see in a basketball game that they say, well, he hasn't missed a free throw in the first 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden the next 3 that he misses. So hopefully that's not the case. We've seen a clean race so far, and we'll see how strategy plays out with Denny Hamlin leading at this point with 117 laps to go.
Green flag racing.
A lot of marbles on the racetrack that these teams are tending to, and of course that's a byproduct of the softer tire that Goodyear has brought here. This is the same tire that we had last fall for the Xfinity 500, and I would say that tire is a success. Todd Gordon, we see it rubber up over the course of a long green flag run, and we also start seeing some slipping and sliding out there and some comers and goers for positions on the racetrack.
Yeah, and that last run was 68 laps. That's the longest green flag run that we've had. Definitely, as it gets that much rubber down on this racetrack, it gets really racy. You start to see guys have to enter in that second lane and then try to turn across the rubber to get exit low or wrap around the bottom. You see it really affecting the handling of these race cars. Now, under caution, we picked most of that rubber back up. It's going to take 20, 30 laps to get that rubber laid back into the racetrack.
It's an interesting phenomenon how that works, because when the cars are at speed and those especially right side tires really dig down into the concrete and lay that Goodyear rubber down, how under caution it just basically gets picked right back up.
The right side tires, actually all 4 tires, they end up being almost like a lint roller. That they're sticky, they're warm, but they're not sliding across the racetrack. So as they're rolling around, they're just picking all that rubber back up, sticking back to that sticky tire.
Right now the field is getting a 1-to-go signal. We will go back under the green flag with 114 laps to go. Denny Hamlin is leading his 160th lap with this passing of the start-finish line to get the 1-to-go. Got Christopher Bell, who came off the pit lane in second. Bubba Wallace third. Chase Elliott fourth, and Kyle Larson's fifth. You got Ross Chastain. He'll restart in sixth. Ryan Blaney in seventh. Joey Logano in eighth. Chase Briscoe in ninth. And Ty Gibbs right now is 10th.
There were a couple of penalties to be handed out on the pit stops back there. John Hunter Nemechek was busted for speeding. He'll go to the tail end of the field. And Carson Hocevar was pitting outside of the pit box. That's a penalty as well. He'll go to the tail end of the field. And when you get penalized penalized to go to the back of the field under caution, you lose the opportunity to be able to choose what lane to restart in. So they just got to fall in line, the longest line of the two.
3 Toyotas, 3 Chevrolets. The highest Ford belongs to Ryan Blaney, who started 32nd this afternoon. Ryan Blaney is poised and in position to make an impact on this one. Pace cars on pit road. Here we go, back under the green flag of the Cookout 400. Denny Hamlin, everybody up to the gearbox, and Hamlin is away with the lead already.
Once again, Bubba Wallace unable to hang with the boss on that restart. Hamlin away with the lead. Side by side for second. Christopher Bell to the inside of Bubba Wallace. Behind them, Chase Elliott inside of Kyle Larson.
For about the third time, Bubba Wallace restarting on the outside lane just did not get a good restart. He's going to go from the second spot all the way back to third before he can get back in line.
He's able to slide down in line across the nose of the Chase Elliott automobile. Elliott still side by side with his teammate Kyle Larson in a battle for fourth.
Further back, Austin Cindric just got punted up the racetrack. He'll lose a spot or two while we continue to settle matters inside of the top 5. A matter for fourth between Elliott and Larson.
Elliott's got the bottom of the racetrack. Larson running topside. Their rear bumpers are filled with the Ross Chastain machine. Chastain running solidly in 6th, looking for a place to run.
He's been solid all day long, mostly in the second part of the top 10.
So here's an image that will show you what they're talking about of the tires. It's very interesting. After the yellow flag and that they were able to blow off the track, these actual tracks disappeared. And then this softer tire, this is from last fall, an article of Matt Weaver in a photo here with Jim Dedman, shows the way that the tires, especially those right side tires, leave the rubber within the track, and then when it goes yellow, that actually disappears, and they have to go back to green and lay more rubber down, and it causes the track to be just a little bit more slick, especially on the new tires.
Out there in no man's land in that outside lane. He's running strong up there, but he cannot dispense with Chase Briscoe. Ross Chastain is pulled away by a couple of car lengths.
Bumper tag with 108 laps to go in Martinsville. Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson side by side. Joey Logano looking on. This is the battle from 6th on back.
Logano right there lined up on the bottom, as is Blaney down the back straightaway. Kyle Larson, he's either going to go one spot forward or about 5 more backward.
He's got to play hard defense on that outside lane to the point it's almost offense for Kyle Larson on that outside lane. He's going to stay wheel to wheel with Chase Briscoe for the 6th spot.
Giving it all he's got right now as Chastain continues to pull away. His edge now 3, maybe 4 car lengths. Larson just cannot get the jump on Chase Briscoe.
I'll give it to Larson. He's given it everything he's got right now, and he's able to keep pace with Chase Briscoe. They mirror each other again with Logano looking on.
5 laps around this Martinsville Speedway, door to door, nose to nose. Chase Briscoe on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside. Logano, Blaney, and Blaney and Michael McDowell all waiting for daylight.
Off turn 4, looks like Chase Briscoe's finally going to be able to clear Kyle Larson, who quickly goes to the bottom because here's Joey Logano on the move.
Joey Logano just springs to the top side of Kyle Larson. He'll try and do it the long way around, and he's got some speed up top. Joey Logano on the march, pulls even.
Joey led 13 laps earlier this afternoon at Martinsville. He has broken his way back into the top 10. He will pass Kyle Larson and put Joey Logano now in the 7th position. While all that was going away, Denny Hamlin has not been able to march away with the lead.
He has not. Christopher Bell's been able to keep pace, a car length and a half off of the back bumper of race leader Denny Hamlin. Bell, in turn, has about the same gap back to 3rd place, Bubba Wallace.
Here they come into turn number 2. Top 3 not separated by a whole lot of daylight right now. The man in trouble. Oh, trouble turned around. Ty Gibbs. He gets spun at the exit of turn 2, and they are stacking up. Everybody diving inside and outside, trying to get by. Ty Gibbs got turned. The only person I think that made contact was Zane Smith. Everybody able to pull away.
That is indeed what happened. Ty Gibbs gets turned around off turn number 2. Zane Smith, in an effort to woe his Ford Mustang down, made contact with the side of Ty Gibbs, who was crossways on the racetrack. That spin and that contact put us under the caution flag for the 8th time with 102 laps remaining.
That was a Toyota on Toyota. That was the 45 car that got into the back of him, Tyler Reddick. So we had a little bit of some monsters getting together there. The Monster Energy car turned for Ty Gibbs. If he was running a little hot before by not having his cool suit, that will heat him up a bit more. As they talked about, Zane Smith also got into the side of him. Now we're going to start seeing which cars will gamble as we go through. We've finished. We've got 100 laps left to go of the 400 scheduled laps. I say that because there are overtime available here at Martinsville. So of the scheduled laps, 100 left, and we'll see if there are any takers for coming into pit road.
Or on YouTube. Go check us out.
Pit stops coming up from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
We are under the green flag. Listen.
Appreciate everybody tuning in to this special presentation of NASCAR racing here. One of the things and one of the ways that I framed this was starting to pay attention to Kyle Larson with his win last week. Kyle is going to be one of the 33 drivers dreaming of being in the Indy 500. He will have to qualify because there will be 34 teams entered. I'm sure that he wishes that it was just strictly 33, so he didn't have to go through that steps. Although the Arrow McLaren car with runner-up Pato O'Ward in the Indy 500 last year will give him a great setup. So he'll have to go back and forth, but we're paying attention to what he's been doing. Kyle Larson dropped back a little bit in that particular round of green flag racing. He's currently running 9th. So pit stops, number of cars that are in, and we'll see how they cycle out.
Pit road is open, and we have some takers in front of Chris Wilner.
Ty Gibbs brings his Toyota to the attention of this crew. He's hot under the helmet after getting spun around off of turn number 2. Tyler Allen trying to calm his driver down, so we're going to free up here, put sticker tires on. He's down and away. Daniel Suarez also opting to come down to put fresh rubber on his Trackhouse Chevy. Steve Post, anybody by you?
Not that I can see down here in the corner. There might be somebody over on the straightaway, but listening to the conversation with Denny Hamlin, they've only ran 11 green flag laps, and they've got good track position, so all the front runners staying out on the speedway here on lap number 301.
So as they make their way back out on the racetrack, cars 1 or more laps down have the opportunity.
That puts Suarez in 20th and Ty Gibbs in 22nd, just to show you the number of cars that did not pit underneath that set of caution flags with, let's see, 98 laps to go.
This puts him in a position where he has a little tire advantage, see whether they can drive their way forward from there.
So as we work under the caution flag, lap 302 on the board. Denny Hamlin stays out. He'll keep the lead. So will Christopher Bell. He'll stay in second. Bubba Wallace third. Chase Elliott fourth. Ross Chastain rounding out the top 5. Chase Briscoe is 6th. Joey Logano is 7th, with Kyle Larson 8th. Ryan Blaney 9th, and Michael McDowell having a good run today for Spire Motorsports. Michael is positioned in 10th.
Running in 11th is Tyler Reddick. 12th is Austin Dillon. 13th is Kyle Busch. 14th is Ryan Priest. 15th is Todd Gilliland. 16th is A.J. Allmendinger. 17th, Carson Hocevar. 18th, Ty Dillon. 19th is Eric Jones. And 20th is Daniel Suarez.
William Byron just came down the pit lane for service. He's posted back in 21st. Ty Gibbs, 22nd. 23rd is Zane Smith. Chris Buescher is 24th. Austin Cindric is 25th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 26th. John Hunter Nemechek in 27th. Noah Gragson is 28th. Brad Keselowski is 29th and 30th. Make that Gragson in in 29th, and Keselowski in 30th.
31st is Alex Bowman. 32nd is Justin Haley. 33rd is Riley Herbst. 34th is Josh Berry. 35th, Shane Van Gisbergen. 36th is Cole Custer. 37th is Casey Mears. And 38th is Burt Myers. All cars continue to race.
And we expected the one to go. Not going to get it this time by, so we'll get at least 2 more laps under the caution flag. We have less than triple digits remaining. Matter of fact, 96 laps to go. Austin Cindric was just on the pit lane. Chris Wilner, why?
Well, for the second time, Mike, it's another battery change. Remember, the sister car, the Wood brothers, Josh Berry having battery and voltage issues. They've been suffering the same problem. Now, Austin's been able to keep it out on the racetrack. They have all the fans off. Anything that's going to supply extra power, they have turned off. But unfortunately, it's not enough. And Austin Cindric now just left the pit lane for a second battery change. Things going bad to worse here for that Penske Ford.
And watching when Austin Cindric came down pit road the first time for battery change, Jonathan Hassler radioed to Ryan Blaney, shut off anything non-essential. I think radiator fan might have been the only thing that they wanted to run, shut the brake fans off and piece like that. I know it's a concern across the Penske group. Be interesting to hear this week what comes out of it.
Yeah, that's something that you just typically don't have on a regular basis, is some battery failures or problems with voltage in these race cars. And I understand that you try to, as you say, and preach to all of us, you race everywhere.
It is, and this is the first time that you really had a full tax on the battery and alternator system, because you've got brake fans to the rear brakes, to the front brakes, you got cooling to the driver. This is the biggest amp draw you'll see at any racetrack that may be showing something in a battery that they didn't notice at the intermediates we've been to.
If you're an Alex Bowman fan, his day has just gotten miserable again, speeding on pit road after Alex Bowman and everybody on that 48 team have had that up and down day. On the racetrack right now, as we come to 94 to go, we're coming to the green flag. Pace car is on pit road. Denny Hamlin will bring him through the restart zone.
See if Bubba Wallace on the outside of the front row can get a better restart this time. He does. He does not quite stay with Hamlin, who just gets a great launch back to 1.
Bubba able to keep a fender up at least on Hamlin this time as they make their way through 1 and 2. Denny, though, pulls away down the back straightaway. Bubba back in line in second. Christopher Bell low line third. Ross Chastain up high.
Chastain gets a good run down the front straightaway. He and Christopher Bell, they may have touched a little bit here midway down the front stretch as they fight for third.
Single file for the top 3 now as Christopher Bell slides through on the inside. Outside lane belongs to Ross Chastain, but he's got more company down low. Chase Elliott.
Side by side for 4. There's Elliott digging hard to the inside of Ross Chastain. Joey Logano's there. Contact further back between McDowell, Larson, and Blaney.
A lot of contact further back. Top 5 are getting away, but they're racing awfully hard further back.
Treble turn number 2. One car gets turned around. Noah Gragson goes for a looping 360 spin, grabs a gear, puts the clutch in, makes sure everything's running, pops the clutch. He'll continue on. Todd, that was an impressive spin.
And I was watching Kyle Larson get sideways up off of turn 2 just in front of him. I thought that was the call you had. Kyle gathered it back up.
So the 17 car, the 4 car are involved. You can tell that a tire's down on the 4 car. This was further back in the action.
Right in front of his car as Noah brings the A&W root beer colors down the pit lane. Under caution flag for the 9th time.
And Kyle Larson with the right rear into the wall. The 17 car off of the curb and then bounces off of the curb and then up onto the A&W root beer car for Noah Gragson. And
turn number 2.
I don't think, there was a chain reaction that occurred, and the 17 car got into the 4 car back further, and yellows breed yellows.
Hamlin is all by himself up front, leading the way in the progressive Toyota. Just getting a chance to see the replay on NASCAR TV. Chris Buescher almost got launched off of the Noah Gragson car.
They got together. Buescher was on the inside of Gragson, and they made some contact, and looks like just with the left front tire of Noah Gragson sticking out of the wheel well as he's turning the wheel, that forces that left front Goodyear tire to stick out just a bit, and the right front of Chris Buescher hit it and launched Buescher's car just a bit in the air. At least the right side wheels clearly off the ground by a good 2 feet before he fell back to earth.
I'm just watching Chris Buescher's car. It looks like he's been in a military invasion of some sort. It is damaged. All four corners. That Ford Mustang has taken a beating this afternoon.
Welcome to running in the back at Martinsville.
Well, I was also going to say that's kind of the way that Kyle Larson's car looks, that it's had some issues throughout there. And we'll see if there's anything that goes on between Gregson and Buescher.
It wasn't very friendly down there, and they continue, Dave, to run side by side with each other.
Yeah, I don't think they're done communicating as of yet. Both of them appear to think that the other one is number one. It's just one of those deals at Martinsville. And yes, Mike, you're exactly right. That Chris Buescher car kind of looks like the Batmobile at the end of the movie.
All used up. And, hey, but he's still on the track. He's still going, but obviously Chris Buescher not having a very good day. Here comes the recipient of the lucky dog. Here comes Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He will bypass the pace car. We'll go at least another couple of laps before we go back under the green flag. 88 to go now, and Denny Hamlin has led 187 of the 312. Hard to believe, Alex, Denny Hamlin has not won at Martinsville for 10 years. 10 years, and all of his short track abilities has deprived him of picking up another grandfather clock.
It has. And
that puts 25 cars on the lead lap, although all of the cars that started the race are still out on the track. And so lap traffic, if we stay green for a period of time, will also be an issue for the leaders.
5 Martinsville wins, but you mentioned 10 years since he's done that. To kind of put that in perspective, he's run 8,074 laps at the front of the field before or since his last win. He's won 29 times on 16 different tracks since his last Martinsville win. He's had 6 short track wins, 3 at Richmond, 3 at Bristol since his last Martinsville win. So again, yeah, it's been 10 years since he's won here at this short little racetrack, but he has run well here as of late to put himself in position.
Steve Post?
And you got to remember, Denny came into the season with a new crew chief. I mean, Chris Gale, he's been around Joe Gibbs Racing for years and years, but this is a new combination, and I think this bodes really well. They had a good run last week at Homestead. Todd Gordon and I were talking on crew call actually this week. We said that looked like Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart last week at Homestead. Well, this looks like Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart. Chris Gabehart's over all of the competition, and it looks to me like the Chris Gale, Denny Hamlin combination is doing just fine, as they have put a project together here to come to this racetrack to be better than a 5th place car, and thus far they have been better than a 5th place car. They've got a car to win here this afternoon.
They do, but we still have 86 laps to go, as we've just gotten the 1 to go signal. Go back under the green flag next time by. Denny Hamlin will choose the inside lane. I think we've seen this movie before. Hamlin on the inside, Bubba Wallace goes to the outside. Christopher Bell and Ross Chastain in row number 2. You've got row number 3 with Chase Elliott and Joey Logano. 4th row, we'll see Chase Briscoe and Michael McDowell. How about the run from Michael McDowell today here at Martinsville Speedway? He's been in the back half of the top 10, around the 10th spot most all afternoon.
He is the 3rd highest Chevrolet at this point of the race, followed by, or in front of him, Elliott and Chastain, with Larson and Austin Dillon right now in that group of bow ties as we come to the green flag. But yeah, Spire Motorsports having a great run at this point here in the Cookout 400. Safety cars on pit road. Denny Hamlin is just gone up to the gearbox, and everybody's just trying to hang with him.
Bubba Wallace gets a good run on the outside of turn 1 to get back halfway back up on the Denny Hamlin machine at the exit of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, Denny to the lead, but Bubba still hanging with him this time.
He is on the outside of Denny Hamlin's right rear, but Denny gets a good run up off the 4th corner. He'll grab the race lead back. Now Christopher Bell to the inside of Bubba Wallace for 2nd.
Bell looking low for the runner-up spot. Behind them, it's Chase Elliott on the inside. He'll go to the number 4 spot. Bubba Wallace once again finds himself hung out to dry in the outside lane.
Oh, Ross Chastain just threw a block on Briscoe. Briscoe hooks the curb, and he clips Logano. Logano goes for a spin, and we're back under the caution flag. Contact off the end of the back straightaway, and a chain reaction. chain of events there that finds Joey Logano going for a spin from the bumper of Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, that's racing at Martinsville. And when you have a curb down there that's 9 inches tall, that is a bit of a ramp. You touch that, it's going to get yourself out of shape. But you're right, Mike. I believe it was Briscoe that was diving into turn 3. Ross Chastain saw it coming, Todd, and just put a block on forcing Briscoe to stand on the brakes.
Yeah, it looks like
checked up, went completely into him.
Back of Ross Chastain, got loose on the brakes there and slid up the hill, kind of hooked the 22 with a little contact and spun him around.
And we are under the caution flag.
So Logano he won stage 1. He dropped back to 29th on lap 89. He had made his way up to 6th on lap 317 and then is sent for a spin. The difficulty is we haven't seen anybody that have put on 4 tires be able to make it all the way up through the field. So we'll see if he comes in. If he does, like I indicated there's 25 cars on the lead lap. So we'll see if Logano makes a pit stop, puts on 4 new tires, and tries to come back up through the field.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR.
Here for Ryan Blaney, 4 tires with Sunoco fuel.
From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, under caution flag number 10, Joey Logano going for a spin out of turn number 4. And upon further review on NASCAR TV, I would say that, my friends, is Martinsville.
Yeah, it definitely looked like, Ross Chastain was 2 or 3 feet clear of.
So the 22 car comes into pit road.
Was just trying to apply some pressure. Misjudge where the corner was.
And that will bring him back out. Last car on the lead lap of 25th. So for the second time, he'll have to make his way back through the field. The difficulty this time is there are only 80 laps left to go.
Do you have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up?
So Hamlin, Wallace, Bell, the 3 Toyotas up front. Then Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson makes his way up to 6th. The benefit of Logano dropping out of that position. Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell up to 9th, and then Ryan Blaney at 10th. So that's your top 10. That will be looking to go green here soon. They are blowing the outside lane of turns 1 and 2 with a blower and safety car out there. So the pace car has them single file. It'll be a couple laps before we go back to green.
America's most exciting motorsport. Best of all, it's completely free. Stream anytime, anywhere. No fees, no strings, just NASCAR. Start streaming now on Tubi.
Denny Hamlin, a total of 196 laps led. Christopher Bell leading 24 laps. Chase Elliott 42 laps. But Hamlin over stage 2, and now in this particular stage, he won stage 2. And now with this stretch of green flag and then the yellows that we've seen, Hamlin has stayed out in front for 196 of the 400 scheduled laps so far.
Sign up today for a super fast connection to NASCAR and never miss a second of the action. Learn more at Xfinity.com.
I got to give credit to Denny Hamlin for all these restarts he's had to do over the last 50, 75 laps or so. There's been multiple restarts, and he's been able to manage them quite well. Now, you can put an asterisk on that because the car he owns, Bubba Wallace, has been the one starting beside him every time. But I think Denny's got a pretty good launch, and his restarts have been outstanding today.
Yeah, his launches have been really good. And Bubba's tried. A couple restarts ago, Bubba actually kind of timed it and got decent with him. But Denny just launches out of the zone really well. Almost looks like he's got a different gear. But I know that these cars are all on the same transaxle ratios, so they've got the same gears. They're both Toyotas. They should have the same power plant. Denny's just got a really good...
Well, the difference will be if Chase Elliott or Ross Chastain or Kyle Larson is able to get behind him and start in second, or start in third, shall I say, right behind him.
And the emotional barometer has a tendency to change its position. What is the positioning of the driver of the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang after going for the most recent spin?
I think Joey Logano realizes that was a Martinsville incident, so he's not frustrated in anybody specifically. What he's frustrated in is him and Paul Wolf have worked on this car all day long, and they finally had the car where they wanted it. Decent track position up in the top 10. I'm not sure they felt they could go up and mess with Denny Hamlin, but I felt like they could get a top 5 finish or maybe even a podium top 3 finish here. And that's Joey's frustration, is that they really had the car good at that point, and unfortunately it went away through no fault of their own.
Yeah, it was tough. He was running up.
To give a comparison, Ty Gibbs was the yellow flag before. He's made his way up to 16th. So we'll see if Logano can move back up through the field starting 25th.
This 10th caution flag up in today's race. We get the 1 to go signal, and they choose what lane to restart in. This time, Bubba Wallace is going to choose to restart at the bottom of the racetrack behind Denny Hamlin.
So Christopher Bell will move up and will join Denny Hamlin on the front row. Bubba Wallace will restart to the inside of Kyle Larson in the second row. You got Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe there in row 3. Ross Chastain and Michael McDowell in row 4. And here's Ryan Preece in the top 10. He'll restart to the inside of Todd Gilliland of Front Row Motorsports. The restart will happen with 75 laps to go.
Yeah, Todd Gilliland's putting together a pretty good run today. His best Martinsville finish in his career is a top 10 in the 10th spot, so he's trying to do that a little bit better here today. Back to the restart zone. Green in the air. Hamlin with a good launch, but his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Christopher Bell's going to match him.
He is right there with him, stride by stride, into turn number 1. Denny Hamlin by maybe a fender coming off to the back straightaway. Christopher Bell hanging right with him down the back stretch and into turn 2. Bell by a nose.
Hamlin's going to take him up the racetrack, but Bell is there. What a launch for Christopher Bell off the top of turn number 4. Matter of fact, Bell will lead that lap going toe-to-toe with Hamlin.
Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin side by side for the lead at Martinsville Speedway. This time off 2, it's Denny by a bumper. Bell drives it deep into turn number 3.
They continue wheel to wheel for the top spot up off of turn number 4. Hamlin again tries to drive Christopher Bell wide. Bell is
wheel to wheel, and they touch.
Hamlin trying to use a little bit of extra real estate down low. Christopher Bell trying to pinch Hamlin to the bottom. Denny will take the spot down the back straightaway. Bell back in line second.
And Bubba Wallace third. Kyle Larson fourth. Chase Elliott in fifth. First side-by-side battle further back is between Chase Briscoe and Ryan Preece. That's the wheel-to-wheel race for 7th.
Ryan Preece has got the inside line, and for the moment he's going to take the number 7 position, although Briscoe's still hanging tough with him on the outside lane. Side-by-side into turn 3, give it to Preece.
Ryan Preece having a great run yet again here in the NASCAR Cup Series. He now takes over the spot from Chase Briscoe rather. Ryan Preece now goes up to the number 7 position.
Briscoe knifes his way down the racetrack across the nose of Michael McDowell to hang on to the number 8 spot. Meanwhile at the front, Denny Hamlin gone by a car length.
He is checking out over Christopher Bell, who now will settle in position number 2. Wallace, Larson, and Elliott round out the top 5. Back to Michael McDowell. Great run this afternoon, Dave. He and Todd Gilliland are wheel-to-wheel.
Gilliland to the outside lane as they run side-by-side down the back chute. And Todd nearly got a piece of the safer barrier at the exit of turn 2.
Up off the corner. Remember earlier, Ty Gibbs went for a spin off the front bumper of Tyler Reddick. They are now side-by-side as they work their way back into turn number 1.
He just took Tyler Reddick all the way to the fence at the exit of turn 4. We'll see if anything more develops from that. Down the back straightaway. Still McDowell side-by-side with his teammate, Todd Gilliland.
That is the race for the number 9 position. Todd Gilliland of Front Row Motorsports. Michael McDowell representing Spire Motorsports inside of the top 10.
Here they come out of turn number 2 to the back straightaway. That one will settle down to a single file battle. Everybody single file back through about the top 25 right now.
And they're going to just settle in line right now with 67 laps remaining here in the Cookout 400. Denny Hamlin.
So Larson comes up to 4th. Chase Elliott is not able to use that diamond entry that he was earlier, but that would open up the inside to the car behind him, Ross Chastain. So they're all having to run with their left tires very close to the curbing. They've all sorted themselves out to be single file Kyle, Hamlin, Bell, Wallace, Larson, and Elliott.
For a spin about 15-20 laps ago or so, and he's been making moves inside Alex. He's been making moves outside, but he's got a long way to go with 66 laps remaining.
Yeah, he does, and he's trying to make the most of it right now. You got to think there may be a caution or two still to go, because we're seeing some far more physical racing in a lot of these positions further back in the field, and history shows us with fewer laps, more caution flags begin to fly. So Logano trying to gain as many as he can right now just to work his way back up there. Todd, I know you've been watching a lot of different battles on and off the racetrack. I see you focusing in on one particular one.
I've just been impressed with Ty Gibbs and what he's been able to do. After being spun, you could lose your cool. They were talking about learning the patience and what you need to do in the long run. He's now battling with Kyle Busch here for, looks like, 13th, 12th position. He's in 13th right now, working his way forward.
Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, side by side with Tyler Reddick looking on.
Kyle's gotten shuffled out to the outside lane. Down low, Gibbs is going to take the spot away from him. Looks like Reddick was unable to get to the inside. He'll go high into turn 3.
Yeah, Reddick goes to the outside.
Gibbs up 4 positions since the restart, up to 12th.
And try to continue to hang on to that spot on the bottom side of the racetrack. Reddick battles right back, though.
Reddick has actually taken Kyle Busch's preferred line away because Kyle's car not turning the way he wants. He spent the last 50 or 60 laps running about a groove up off the bottom. He's unable to do that now.
They're leaning on one another coming off the corner. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch racing for 13th right behind Ty Gibbs.
Tyler Reddick rim riding that outside lane, puts a fender up now on Kyle Busch. Kyle unable to get back to the throttle as quickly as he would like at the exit of the corner. Give the spot to Tyler Reddick.
Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Denny Hamlin getting a challenge courtesy of his teammate Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell slowly but surely has reeled Hamlin back in, and it's only another car length or 2 back to the Bubba Wallace machine. There may be a problem for Kyle Larson. No, he just pulled over to allow Chase Elliott to go. Elliott with the quicker car. Larson gives way.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, after making the pass on the back straightaway, has gotten...
So they're coming up on a lap. Traffic gets out of the way. Interesting, Bell taking that outside line and then diamonding the turn while he has the opportunity with the gap between himself and Bubba Wallace.
And Elliott's taking full advantage of that opportunity. He does, however, have about 4, maybe 5 car lengths before he gets to Bubba Wallace, the 3rd place car.
Off turn 2 to the back straightaway. The gap between 1st and 2nd remains about a car length, maybe 2. Denny Hamlin continues to show the way over Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell dialing up the low lane. He is just wrapping the bottom of the racetrack right now, and Hamlin has scampered away to about a 2-car length lead. On the racetrack, we have 57 laps to go. Hamlin is the leader. Bell is 2nd. Bubba Wallace is 3rd. Chase Elliott's 4th. Kyle Larson is 5th. Ross Chastain hanging in there in 6th. Another top 10 run for Ryan Preece. He is 7th. With Chase Briscoe 8th, Todd Gilliland 9th, and Ryan Blaney right now is up to 10th.
And Michael McDowell runs 11th. 12th is Ty Gibbs. 13th is Tyler Reddick. Ty Dillon having a nice afternoon. And 14th, Kyle Busch goes 15th. Zane Smith is 16th. Carson Hocevar back in 17th, and William Byron 18th. Joey Logano rebounding. He's up to 19th, looking for more on William Byron. 20th is Austin Dillon.
Watching Chase Elliott right now, trying to take 3rd away from Bubba Wallace. He is diamonding the corner, driving in straight, doing the pivot, driving straight off, and it's starting to pay off as he does it yet again here in turns 3 and 4.
He's got a very good handling race car. Chase Elliott now trying to figure out how he's going to get by the Bubba Wallace car. Meanwhile, Dave, Bubba's got to figure out how to prevent that from happening.
Running very different lines. Bubba Wallace enters on the bottom of the racetrack and just hugs the apron all the way around. Chase Elliott, as Mike said, comes in a full groove higher on the racetrack, diamonds the turn, and then comes off low.
He'll cut it way to the bottom of turn number 4, and he's tiptoeing in on the back bumper of Bubba Wallace at a battle for 3rd.
Bubba's not going to go quietly. He's had a very good race car this afternoon. Elliott takes a peek to the inside, had a fender there, but Bubba shuts him off.
He does back.
52 laps to go.
Both of those those drivers, while battling for third, are beginning to inch closer to the top two. Hamlin the leader, Christopher Bell second, Bubba Wallace third, Chase Elliott is fourth.
Things are definitely tightening up. The top four very close to being nose to tail now as Austin Cindric peels off the racetrack and heads to pit road. Denny Hamlin's lead less than a car length. Christopher Bell a car length back to Bubba. Right on his bumper is Elliott.
Elliott nudged Bubba coming out of turn number 2, just letting him know he was there. Again, the front four break away with 50 laps to go.
Good friends off the racetrack, but there's a race to be run and won here in the late going at Martinsville. Hamlin, Bell, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson may not be done yet.
Now Christopher Bell shows Denny Hamlin a bit of a different maneuver in turns 3 and 4. He's taking a page out of the Chase Elliott book, going high into the corner, trying to cut it low.
There is definitely some experimenting with lines going on here as we get down to crunch time. Christopher Bell has not been able to overhaul Denny Hamlin running the same line as he has. Now he's trying some new.
Here they come off the corner. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, 1 and 2. They are separated by 2 car lengths as they slowly start to catch the tail end of the field.
And that may be the difference here, the ability to negotiate lap traffic. Denny Hamlin has been virtually flawless in that department this afternoon. Christopher Bell's got to hope that he can find an opportunity.
They're going to have to start thinking long and hard how they're going to have to deal with that. Now, the 4th place runner, Chase Elliott, was on the back bumper of 3rd place.
Hamlin has not been able to try a different line except for when he's trying to get by the lap traffic. So we'll also see if that pays off for his ability to defend the other cars as they are trying to do the diamond approach. They only can do the diamond approach to the turn if they do not have a car immediately behind them. If they try that with the car behind them, then that car is able to get to the inside. They leave the door open.
3rd and 4th is a bit wider because of what you just described, Alex, trying to get around the Austin Cindric car. Chase Elliott getting tangled up there. But then it's the same back to Kyle Larson. So as the leaders accordion back out, we expect that as they catch the tail end of the field, that accordion will close, as we have a tendency to see here at Martinsville.
Well, and they're going to have to figure out how to deal with some of these cars. Now, the first car they're going to attack here to try to put another lap down will be Cody Ware, who's working on the back bumper.
So Gibbs has made his way up to 12th, kind of stalled out there, and Logano has made his way up to 17th, now 16th, making his way past Kyle Busch.
A leader from passing you, but if you're more than 1 lap down with only 44 laps remaining in the race, you would expect them to give a little more real estate.
And we saw that out of Cody Ware. He entered 3 and 4, a lane up, let Denny Hamlin to the bottom. Looks like Burt Myers moving up a lane as well, letting these leaders kind of work the bottom underneath him.
And that's exactly what's happening now, as Burt Myers will slide wide and leave the lane open for the leaders. Denny Hamlin makes the pass down low. Christopher Bell does as well. As once this happens, the passing of Burt Myers and Cody Ware, Casey Mears directly ahead of Denny Hamlin. Then they've got some open racetrack to work with before they start to catch the rest of the drivers that are on the end of the lead lap.
And the first one that they would have to encounter will be Cole Custer. He's had a rough day of it, and he's 5 laps down right now as Cole Custer, as Chase Elliott now works around some of that lap traffic that the lead trio has already done. For more on Chase Elliott, let's go to Chris Wilner.
Well, it's a good sign when the driver hasn't said much on the radio. Even better is crew chief Alan Gustafson came over the radio a couple laps ago and said, you're flip-flopping as the fastest car on the racetrack. Don't use your stuff up. His spotter, Trey Poole, came on the radio just after that and said, the lap cars are going to come to our advantage. They're going to try to have to probably open the holes a little bit more aggressively than you. Just take what you can get and you will get right to them. So Chase Elliott in conservation mode, but still one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, just going to capitalize when they get to the tail end of the field.
Right now, Chase Elliott running in 4th. He has fallen now 1.6 seconds behind Denny Hamlin, who leads with 40 laps to go. If we stay under the green flag, Alex, this one will be done in short order.
It will indeed, but that's a big little 2-letter word, if we stay under the green flag. So we'll find out how this happens, but with now the field strung out all...
Been surprised that they've stayed green this long on this particular round of after the last pit stop. They've stayed green for quite a while here.
Alex Bowman coming out of turn number 4. Bowman just getting a shot in the shorts there from Suarez. Tried to run him up the racetrack. They're able to part peaceably, but there is contact throughout the field, not just for a spot in the top 5, but also spots towards the tail end of the lead lap as well, as we continue to watch Denny Hamlin start to pull away from Christopher Bell, now with 37 laps to go.
Now let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network.
So when they're saying that about Suarez, he is currently back in 23rd position. So this kerfuffle that they're talking about and the yellow flag that potentially could come may not be right at the front, as Hamlin even increases his gap to nearly a second.
I'm Alex Hayden. Dave Moody is out in the corner for us this afternoon with Steve Post and Chris Wilner up and down the pit lane. 35 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin continues to be the race leader.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services.
So 34 laps to go. It still remains Hamlin, Bell, Bubba Wallace. He was underneath attack from Chase Elliott, but Elliott has dropped back a little bit from there. Elliott, Larson, Chastain, Ryan Preece, Chase Briscoe, and Todd Gilland, Ryan Blaney through the top 10. We've been paying a little bit of attention back. Ty Gibbs has kind of stalled out there at 12th as he made his way through the field. Logano picked up one more position to 15th. He would need a yellow flag and then a new set of tires to be able to do this again. Yet you hit a point where you can only go up through the field so much.
Between first and second, Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, it's up to nearly 1 full second now, as Hamlin is working traffic rather well here, as he's just gotten by the Shane Van Gisbergen car. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows.
Logano now up to 14th, just paying attention a little bit further back in the field as he's able to make his way through. He was spun and has gone through the field twice, was the winner of stage 1, dropped back to 29th position, made his way up to 6th, and on lap 317 was spun and went back. It stayed pretty constant at the start of the pack. Christopher Bell on the restart was able to get into second position, past Bubba Wallace, and then Kyle Larson had made his way up to 4th. He had to, from 6th, he dropped back one position. Chase Elliott was able to get by him. And so that's the Hendrick Motorsports drivers that are looking to get the 30th win, as Denny Hamlin, 30th win for Hendrick at Martinsville, as now there is traffic that Denny Hamlin is having to get in, although Christopher Bell has not really taken advantage of that too much, as Hamlin's trying to get by John Hunter Nemechek.
Now there's a lot of traffic. This field is spread out from stem to stern. Denny Hamlin will go to work on the back bumper of John Hunter Nemechek.
He'll try to wedge his way to the bottom of John Hunter. He can't do it out of turn number 4. He'll regroup and try again in 1.
Dives down low into turn number 1. He'll pass John Hunter Nemechek and Burt Myers. Well, that was a 3 wide that I don't think Denny necessarily had in mind, but it worked out. He gets away.
He has indeed. The last car, by the way, on the lead lap is John Hunter Nemechek. He's in jeopardy of going a lap down right now as Denny Hamlin races down to turn 1 to his inside.
Christopher Bell trying to take advantage of the opportunity by closing in. He's done so to within 3, maybe 4 car lengths, but Denny Hamlin now dispenses with the Nemechek.
An update on the Austin Cindric situation. That car's been on and off of pit road nursing voltage issues on that Menards Ford. The crew is pushing the car down the pit lane and pushing Austin to the garage. He is the first retiree with now 25 laps to go this afternoon.
4 different battery changes on that race car throughout the running of the first 375 laps. So clearly a thing that they will address this week at the Team Penske race shops out there. Bit of a strange scenario there, and then same with the car that has a technical alliance with Team Penske. That's Josh Berry. He's had a couple of battery changes today as well. Berry's still racing. He's 4 laps down back in 33rd.
And those troubles for Berry happened after he led 40 laps in the early going this afternoon. And of course, once those issues took hold of that Ford,
20 laps left to go in the 400 scheduled laps. Logano won stage 1. Hamlin won stage 2, and he has the most laps led as we have 200 to go. 20 to go, excuse me.
More lap traffic ahead, and Dave Mooney is basically in his own zone right now as he catches the tail end of the field.
Looking like the Martinsville Denny Hamlin of old, Mike. Back when he used to dominate this place, it almost seemed alarming to know that he hadn't won here in a decade. They said they were trying something different here this afternoon. It is working.
I'd say so, as he does put a lap on the Riley Herbst car. That'll put Riley 4 laps down now. He's had his challenges today after being spun a couple of different times. But Denny Hamlin, with just 20 laps to go next time by, has got things in cruise control. But as they say, Dave Mooney, you don't take the hats to victory lane just yet.
It ain't over till it's over, as Yogi Berra once said. And for Denny Hamlin, he knows that as well as anybody. Closing in on the back bumper of the Justin Haley machine. Right in front of him will be Chris Buescher. Buescher in particular will be happy to see this one over.
A 1.5 second lead over Christopher Bell at this point.
A couple of on-track skirmishes. Right now he sits on the nose of Justin Haley, who sits right in front of race leader Denny Hamlin.
Haley gives way to the outside, allows Denny Hamlin free passage to the inside onto the back straightaway. He'll close in now on Chris Buescher.
As Chris Buescher, right at the bottom of the racetrack, is going to try to stay on the lead lap. He's the last car right now on the lead lap in the 25th position. Good racing all the way around, but hard to take your eyes off of the race leader trying to negotiate lap traffic.
He's had to be perfect in that lap traffic. Christopher Bell not exactly working his back bumper, but he's been able to stay relatively close so that a mistake could play into the final verdict, although I think Bell is about run out the string. He's falling back into the clutches of Bubba Wallace.
That would be the battle for the number 2 position. Want to check in on Joey Logano. Got spun at lap 317. Had to go to the back of the pack, and he's done a nice job, Alex, rebounding. Joey now is back up to position number 12.
Clearly a good race car, and he's been able to drive forward. And Todd, you have to think he and Paul Wolfe were hoping to have a caution or two here in this closing run.
And Bubba Wallace has made it to the back bumper of Christopher Bell, so we'll see if there's a change in a position there. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you, Stacy, for tuning in at our special coverage here on 33 Dreams of Indy as we have an off weekend and decided to give a little commentary for NASCAR. And seeing a domination so far by Denny Hamlin. The only thing that Denny Hamlin doesn't want to see at this point is a yellow flag.
11th spot, exits turn 2, heads for the backstretch.
Down the backstretch they go, and now it's gotten a little bit tighter for sure. Joey Logano looking down to the inside. Michael McDowell will give way. Logano picks up another spot.
Joey angles his way to the bottom of the racetrack. McDowell tries to do the crossover. He will not succeed in that attempt, so put Joey up to the 11th position. When Denny Hamlin comes off the corner and back to the line, there'll be 13 laps to go. He'll put another lap on Burt Myers and now close in on Eric Jones.
And all of a sudden, Denny Hamlin is just beginning to make a shambles of this thing. He was just a couple of car lengths ahead of Christopher Bell maybe 15 laps ago. Now he's half the back straightaway ahead of Bell, and Christopher's more attending to defense, trying to hold off Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, they are, and they have got a pack of lap cars dead ahead. That's going to enable Chase Elliott in the 4th spot to begin to close in as well, as all these drivers...
Bell, Wallace, and Elliott all bumper to bumper for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Put the plow down a bit and move a couple of people out of the way. Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott are right on his tail.
And Kyle Larson is only a car length behind Elliott. So as we have 11 laps to go, the stacking up of traffic is now for second on back.
Yeah, the battle is for the runner-up position as Denny Hamlin is all by himself. Down the back straightaway, Bell rides second. A car length back to Bubba Wallace in third, another to Chase Elliott, another to Larson.
10 laps to go. Fat Lady's not singing yet, but she is backstage warming up the vocal cords. Denny Hamlin heads to 2.
Down the back straightaway, all by himself. No lap traffic to deal with for a moment. It's the next man in line. That's going to be the Noah Gragson machine. Ahead of him, A.J. Allmendinger.
As Denny Hamlin comes to the line, he's going to tie the longest green flag lap count today. 68 laps as we have gone continual under the green flag. And Denny Hamlin talked about long runs. Chris Gale, his crew chief, talked about long runs and how this car has come to life here in this late going. I would say that mission accomplished and definitely achieved with the long run speed that Denny Hamlin is putting forth in front of us right now, Dave.
Bubba Wallace just shoved Christopher Bell all the way through turns 3 and 4. I think Bubba's decided that second place will be first loser today. He wants that spot. Working hard on Christopher Bell.
Yeah, they are. This has been a hard race through lap traffic, making the way into turn number 3. Another good battle further back. Ross Chastain is 6th. Ryan Preece is all over it.
5 to go.
The racing is great everywhere, but Denny Hamlin's missing all of it. Davis, he's all by himself.
Yeah, it's a heck of a show that he's missing out there, just kind of circulating around, taking his time. He now goes to the outside of A.J. Allmendinger, dives to the bottom out of 4.
Here he comes now, Denny Hamlin to the line. It'll be 6 laps to go to the inside of A.J. Allmendinger to put him a lap down.
Just tiptoeing through the tulips now is Denny Hamlin, and now he's got nearly half the length of the back straightaway between himself and the next lap machine of Cody Ware. William Byron and Alex Bowman in danger of being lapped before it's over.
Yeah, they are. There's 5 laps to go for Denny Hamlin this time by as he works his way back to the corner. And for the moment, a little bit of clean racetrack for the leader.
He'll take every bit of it as well, just praying that this thing stays green to the checkered flag. Denny Hamlin down the backstretch and into 3.
Denny Hamlin dials up the low lane, brings that progressive Toyota to the bottom of the racetrack. 4 laps to go for Denny Hamlin. He's all by himself, counting down the laps to a potential win 1 of 2025.
If this one stays green, he's passed his final car of the afternoon. At least he won't have to pass anymore. He's still got some daylight between himself and the next lap's machine. He's got half the straightaway or more between himself and second.
Denny Hamlin off the corner now. He'll swing that car wide up against the safer barrier. Immediately ease out of the gas, punch the brakes, and dive for the bottom of 1.
Denny Hamlin trying to take Progressive Insurance to victory lane for the first time in their so far brief NASCAR Cup Series career. Just a handful or less to go for Denny.
2 to be exact for Denny Hamlin. Here he comes up off turn number 4. That bright blue and white Progressive Insurance Toyota back to turn number 1 with 2 to go.
He's caught up to those lap cars. Cody Ware right in front of him. Denny, I don't think, has an intention in the world of trying to make a pass at this point. He's just looking far ahead at the white flag.
Here he comes off the corner, down to the start-finish line. White flag is in the air for Denny Hamlin. 1 lap left as he brings the field back to turn 1.
The Denny Hamlin of old is back at Martinsville Speedway. A dominant performance this afternoon for the Progressive Toyota. Denny Hamlin on his way.
Here he comes up off of turn number 4. Denny Hamlin will see the checkered flag go in the air from Brett Dalton, and Denny Hamlin has won the Cookout 400 at the Martinsville Speedway. Denny Hamlin picks up the win. Christopher Bell will come across the stripe and finish 2nd. Bubba Wallace will be 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, and Kyle Larson rounds out the top 5. Let's go to Steve Post.
They are celebrating.
273 laps led for Denny Hamlin once he got in the lead and had the tire strategy, placed him in the lead, held on, won stage 2, and then was dominant in the last stage of the race. Despite the 10 cautions that occurred, he was able to hang on and ended up winning that by over 4 seconds, 4.6 seconds.
2025.
Imagine a scrap.
So this win places Denny Hamlin into the playoffs. It's great to get a victory earlier on in the season so that he will be able to do some adjustments and some tinkering throughout the rest of the season. And now that they have themselves locked in, this particular track is a playoff track later on in the season. So he'll have a notebook for that, as well as I'm sure Goodyear will bring back the same tires for the future race as they did last year in the fall. Checking on some of the drivers that made their way back up through, Joey Logano was able to work his way up to 8th position, so recovered after the last restart 17 positions. Chase Briscoe dropped down to 9th. Todd Gilliland, a top 10 run. A little disappointing for Ryan Blaney, although didn't want to fall to those electrical issues, was 11th. McDowell 12th. Ty Gibbs dropped back 1 position, but after the spin, he finished in 13th.
Still digging through turn 4, now going to turn 3.
I'm impressed. He is doing his own version of drifting around the Martinsville Speedway, and why not? It's been 10 years since he's been able to win here at Martinsville, and boy, what a drive for Denny Hamlin.
So a little discussion after the race. Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, nothing that is really a dispute, just 2 racers on a short track having a discussion afterwards.
Sunoco is trusted to help vehicles perform at their peak. Sunoco, performance is what we do.
Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick are having a conversation right now, right outside of Ty Gibbs's car. There is NASCAR security in the area, so they got together earlier in the race to send Ty Gibbs for a spin out there as we get set to hear from some of our other drivers. Let's hear from Bubba Wallace.
How about Bubba Wallace? 2 straight third-place finishes as he climbs out of his McDonald's Toyota. Bubba, solid day today, couple solid weeks. How does this one feel leaving Martinsville?
Yeah, man, I feel like we left a little bit out there. I think we were definitely better than the 20, but just everybody gets so stuck with this tire, and when you feel like you have an advantage, you can't really do nothing with it. So still need to work on this package, but all in all, man, back-to-back top 5s is a good day. That usually comes around the summer months when we do that, so it's nice to have that really good points day. I'm sure that's what the text from MJ will say. But all in all, just really proud of my team. We've shown up since the beginning of the season with our heads in the game. And Charles jumping into this, super proud of him to basically just pick up where we left off. So Booty left him in good hands. So it's definitely a team effort all day. Good to come out here with a good result in one of my favorite places. So it's good.
Bubba Wallace, a solid day as they continue to build momentum with the 2311 program. His career best at Martinsville. Chase Elliott, one of the Hendrick
Wallace came into this 7th in the standings, one of the first cars that has not won a race yet in order to get into the points. Denny Hamlin holding up a 11 against the world sign with these progressive colors. So
Denny did a good job. End of that second stage, I really needed to get it then. I needed to win that stage, but not so much for the stage win, but more for just control of the race, because these things get tough second half to make a lot of hay, and everybody gets so good, so close. So I kind of knew I needed to get there. Trying really hard to get there, and just came up a little short. So it was a good effort. Glad we had a good day here for sure. Nice to lead some laps, and but we need more than good days. So we'll go back to work.
That's Chase Elliott, a top 5 finish. Still more to build on here, but again, really consistent here at Martinsville Speedway. And then Kyle Larson, of course, rounds out our top 5 in 5th for car number 5. And it's been a really good run for Kyle coming off that Homestead Miami win here last weekend. And Kyle had to root and gouge this HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. It looks a little beaten and torn, but Kyle, how would you summarize a top 5 finish at Martinsville with a car that looks like it's been to war today?
I don't know, it was a good finish for us. I actually thought our car was really respectable. Just had a restart, not really. I got kind of stuck on the top and then got beat up for a handful of laps. So, then I had a good restart finally. had some things work out and then just settled in.
Good day for Kyle Larson. Comes home in the top 5, guys.
It was a good, solid effort for Kyle Larson, and comes home in the number 5 position. Now, let's hear from our race winner, the Cookout 400, Denny Hamlin. He's with Steve Post.
Family is down here getting big hugs. Denny Hamlin in victory lane here at Martinsville Speedway again for the 6th time. Denny, you shared with us all weekend long about how you guys went to work on Martinsville. How rewarding is this? Not only do you get the work done, get the trophy, get the clock, get everything here at Martinsville.
It's great. I mean, it's just a historic racetrack, and I've been so frustrated not getting a win here, but being kind of the next best in line. And, man, we really have turned the corner. Whatever setup we got here, we bring it back to the fall, we're certainly going to be contenders. But this whole Progressive Toyota team just did a phenomenal job all week preparing and all practice to get me this race-winning car.
This week, Todd Gordon and I did a podcast. We talked about last week looked like Chris Gabehart, Denny Hamlin. It's Chris Gale. We understand that. How is that relationship coming? And it does look pretty good from our perspective.
It's coming along. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better, and he's learning me and my style and the things that I like. So it's a fun time right now.
Fun time right now. 55th career win. You tie Rusty Wallace for 11th on the list. Actually, Chris Gabehart coming over to congratulate him. And we're just going to let them have their moment down here as they celebrate. And the family is down here. Denny Hamlin, for the 55th time in his career, he's now 11th on the all-time win list. He is a winner here in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Well, he also picked up the Xfinity fastest lap of the race because he turned in the fastest lap at 20.118 seconds. And that happened at lap 195. Congratulations from Xfinity on winning a championship point. Sign up today for a super fast connection.
So a bonus point there, bonus points for leading the most laps. Interesting to sit and watch the entire NASCAR race. It'll be also interesting to see the ratings that come out after following the IndyCar race. Time to make a little commentary here. After following the IndyCar race and seeing the last IndyCar race at the Thermal Club, that all 65 laps went green. The last section of this race went green with 68 laps. As far as the number of passes on track and seeing that there were 9 lead changes, a couple of these occurred through a level of, shall we say, attrition with Josh Berry coming back. The other lead changes were really from pit stops that occurred a couple times with the stage leads or after the stages. After watching this and really seeing how the stages play into this, I don't know if I'm a fan or not. I have to give that a little bit more thought. It seems a little bit contrived, although I could see how the field could have really gotten strung out. If I stop and take a look at this, of the 38 cars that started the race, there were 22 on the lead lap, including from 29th on back were multiple laps down. So had it gone green further than that without having the stage breaks, it would have been, shall we say, old-time NASCAR, where you would have seen a lot more cars that were laps down on this. As far as the overall action throughout the field, I felt that it was pretty comparable to what I've seen the last 2 races so far this season with IndyCar. It was nice watching the NASCAR race, at least seeing one time when they talked about around the corner as to the action that would be coming up, and making note of the Long Beach Grand Prix. IndyCar not running every week or every other week causes them to fall out of attention. It's not the constant attention that you see with NASCAR radio, with the different shows that are on. IndyCar has just as much of the characters, shall we say, the teams that you'd be able to follow. Very similar recipe as far as the car, and it's very similar to hear the discussions that Bubba Wallace is talking about with tire compounds. It's very similar because you have the same car package. Those are some of the same discussions that occur on IndyCar. But it was fun to have an opportunity on an off weekend to tune into the NASCAR race. I appreciate all of you that tuned in as well from the historic track there at Martinsville, and see a little bit of beating and banging, a couple incidents that occurred, not your normal short track action with the last 68 laps all being under green. So wouldn't think that I would see it, but Denny Hamlin makes his way up the victory list, ties or passes Rusty Wallace for the career victories. That's something else to see, and congratulations to him with the new sponsorship. That's always great to see for a sport. Progressive coming on board for 18 races to fill the side of the Joe Gibbs Racing team. So, rundown there. Hamlin, Christopher Bell remains hot for the season. Bubba Wallace entered the race. Let me take a look at this. He entered the race in the 7th position in points, so that's going to do nothing but solidify him. Chase Elliott entered in 3rd. Solid finish for him. Kyle Larson was paying attention to him with his coming up for the double that he'll be looking to do with the Indy 500 and the World or Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Hopefully weather holds out for all of that. I look for him to be a contender in the Indy 500 this year with the team that he's running with, and he has had a chance now to go through live pit stops and knows the overall schedule. Ross Chastain staying consistent. Chastain, this was a great run for him. Came into the race 13th in points, so that will help him. Ryan Preece, Joey Logano with the bounce back. He's going to wonder what could have been, yet those fresh tires were able to help him. Chase Briscoe, and then Todd Gillihan with the top 10 run. So it was great to see. Thank you to everyone that was tuning in along with us. Check out one of our IndyCar races. I've come over to the NASCAR side and paid attention to it. Would love for you to come over and check out the NASCAR race in 2 weeks. The Long Beach Grand Prix, talking about a historic race. Drivers within the IndyCar series, they say they want to win the Indy 500. The second race that they put on their bucket list to win is in Long Beach. So we would love to see you there. Appreciate spending the afternoon with you.